out in all 4 directions. Only 2 attacks for each direction though, so that's an interesting combination that we've been seeing. It'll be a little while until the game starts up, probably about 5 minutes, I want to say. But
You
yeah.
don't know about the Aghanim's Pangolin. Like, if you get it, if you use Yule Scepter to cast it on top of someone, do all 8 attacks hit them? A bit like Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Probably on the wiki page, right?
Hopefully.
I'm having a look now. So, Shield Crash. Does not mention it specifically.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be that strong.
Yeah, but it's a difference between 8 hitting and 2 hitting, so... Huh. See if you can look up that specifically.
Oh, that's a tough one. What do I even search for? What?
Yeah, it looks like we'll be going into the game very soon. I think that might be doing the lobby. Just organising the lobby before going into it now. Oof. I'm just going to have a quick look to see what other heroes they've been playing alongside the IO, because it's now 5 games in total they've played with the IO core. And they are 5-4-5. So, again, great showing. Let's go to the matches. So it's been IO with Bristleback, which was yesterday, we saw that one. IO with Troll Warlord. IO with Pango. Another Troll Warlord, and then the Wind. Okay, so they're the ones we've seen. So, Troll, Pango, Wind, and Bristleback. And all of them looked strong. All of them looked really good. So if they manage to get the IO, you have to spend like 4 bans if you want to avoid all of the nice combos that they've been playing with it.
I suppose there is the hope that if they don't get a combo with Wisp, it's weak, but I think it's still strong even if you don't get a good combo with it. And there's so many possibilities of heroes that can combo with it.
Yeah, and we haven't even seen some of them, right? Anyone that attacks in an area is really strong. The Ember Spirit is a really peculiar one that you can do. It basically doubles the Sleight of Fist, so that both IO and the Ember Spirit are doing Sleight of Fist. And the combos, the global combos between them, with the IO Relocate and the Ember Spirit, if he wants to, like, he can go in with the IO, and then immediately, like, kind of head back to a Spirit, all sorts of, like, awkward global plays by throwing the spirits out, interacting with Relocate.
There's things you could do like as a more traditional IO as well, where you've just got the Ag spinning round and you're dealing pretty good damage. Because you could go with the Tiny. They really like playing Tiny. Could be an Alchemist.
Would that work with the Tree Toss? Would that work with the Tree Toss? Echo Saber worked with the Tree Toss, but like I'm just wondering if you go like IO and tether to Tiny, and then Tiny throws the tree, does that cause IO to attack every target hit with the tree?
Oh god, there's so many different things. That is such a messy game.
Yeah, I think it does. This is just a video from a pub game I'm having a look at now, but
Trying to figure out if it classes as a physical nuke or an actual attack. It says it's an instant attack.
which means that it would.
Yeah.
Because that's the same interaction as like Pango, that's the same interaction as who else does similar? Tidehunter. Riki.
I was thinking just Alchemist, just have a really tanky boy, make him even tankier, and Alchemist does lots of attacks as well.
Yeah, yeah. It's really fun. Morphling. Morphling is a really great hero with it. My goodness, the backdoor potential. Like, you can be losing a game, and you can just be relocating across to the other side of the map using the IO attack speed buff on the Morphling. The Morphling attacks really quickly anyway. The Morphling attacks really hard, and then you just attack the towers with both of you.
Clinks.
The Burning Army wouldn't work, but yeah.
Strafe.
Yeah, with the multi-attack work, because you can get the multi-attack at the last level.
Oh, I don't know.
Split shot and gyrocopters thing do work.
I imagine it would, although you'd probably want the strafe just to get more attacks.
And
it depends,
Drow.
like, if you run about like what you're against.
Drow would be a really strong combo with it because, like, yeah, if you get the Aghanim Scepter on Drow and you get the 3 attacks, they would work.
Ursa.
Lots of different ones.
Yeah, I feel like.
Yeah, I think the easy option is to ban the IO. I think that's the conclusion we're coming to.
Legion. Yeah, just too many things. Just ban it. I feel like it's still quite strong even if you don't have the duos.
Oh, we'll see. It'll probably be an early ban if they do ban it, right?
It's still quite strong even if you don't have they don't duos. I just expect them to run over all game. Alright, so no bans have happened yet.
Magnus. Okay, so the Magnus was picked in game 2 when OG played against Newbie and did run over Newbie with the additional farm from the cleave and also like it was mostly just the additional farm from the cleave. They gave OG that and they ended up just picking really great heroes to synergize with it, the Juggernaut and the Monkey King, I believe it was, and yeah, Newbie just kind of crumbled.
At these longer tournaments, the teams that usually win are the ones that have too many heroes you have to ban against. And you can't let OG get the Magnus, you can't let them get Enchantress, you can't let them get Wisp.
There's the Magnus Wisp. So the 2 heroes that they used, game 1 and game 2 versus Newbie, are out of the game.
But that's by no means the end of OG's chances.
Yeah, it's
They've
like
still got a lot left in their tank.
We've seen them play really well with those heroes, certainly, but it's not like when they don't have those heroes, they necessarily lose. They're really great with the Invoker, the Elder Titan they've been playing a ton of. That's a really popular hero this tournament.
The Enchantress, which is probably going to get banned now.
Chen as well, though. So even if you ban the Enchantress, they've been picking the Chen. Alk is their choice. That's not an OG hero. How many Alk games do they have this tournament? 1.
Just the one. Was it Anana or Thompson?
Anna, and then they had Thompson on the Ember Spirit. There has been 1 Alchemist game from OG. That's a really peculiar ban.
I don't know what's been happening in streams, obviously. Scrims, I mean.
Yeah, they may be practiced with this hero and it's just been banned out a lot in other games, or if they felt like that's just a more optimal pick in other games.
Okay.
But they block
So EG
pick
left the Enchantress. And block pick. Block picking is a fun thing you can do in drafting where you know the enemy team wants it, you can play it well yourself, so you leave it in the pool and you have an earlier pick than them and you take it. However, sometimes block picking is not the wisest thing to do if you're not very good at it.
Yeah, we saw the Liquid in TI7, so the Liquid champions at TI7. They were really strong with 4 heroes, and against them, the enemy team decided to ban 3 of them and then pick the Leshrac, because they didn't want Liquid to have the Leshrac, didn't play the Leshrac very well themselves, and ended up getting run over.
Wasn't that EG at TI5?
Was it? I swear Liquid.
That was the famous one with Leshrac.
Oh, okay.
But anyway,
cool.
Yeah.
Similar situation. It's just when there's too many heroes to ban, you're like, okay, we don't want them to get any of these 4 heroes. Let's ban 3 and pick one of them. You'll be picking the one that you're most comfortable on. It seems like they also banned out the Elder Titan on OG. EG and OG have both been playing this a ton. So that's the kind of thing that's happening there. So it's like OG had the final ban before Evil Genius's pick, and they chose that they'd prefer to play into the Enchantress than the Elder Titan, was basically that ban. Just go over some of the heroes that we've got so far. Grimstroke, he can place a buff on an ally target, and after a short delay, in an area of effect around them, a stun happens based on how long enemies have been standing near that hero in the meantime. Tree and Protector go invisible in trees, and he has an attack that roots nearby, roots the enemy he attacks. So Grimstroke and Tree and Protector make a kind of nice supporting cast if you're trying to do an aggressive lane with the 2 of them. Tree and Protector also boasts the highest attack damage at level 1 of any hero in the game. Tiny is second. We've seen tons of Tiny as well.
The thing with the positions of the heroes, Enchantress is likely to be an off lane. We don't really see jungle Enchantress anymore. And Earth Spirit is guaranteed to be a 4 position. However, OG have a bit more flexibility. They like to play this Tree and Protector in the off lane position. Whereas Grimstroke can also be a 5 or a 4, can be either support role.
Topson has played Earth Spirit in mid. I'm not sure if EG are going to try and copy that strategy, but just to say, there is the potential that EG try and use one of OG's strategies from the group stages against them.
The thing with Enchantress that makes her a strong offlaner is that she slows the attack speed of people who want to attack her. We mentioned Tree and Protector has really high attack damage, but he has really slow attack speed, so he probably won't be able to slap Enchantress. She's otherwise quite squishy, so she's very weak to nukes. Grimstroke has a very strong nuke.
They'll probably try and dodge the matchup. They'll probably try and dodge it entirely. What we'll likely see here is OG trying to end up in a situation where the Enchantress from Evil Geniuses is running into a single hero, their offlaner, on one lane, and then the Grimstroke, Tree and Protector, and their carry are playing into the opponent's carry and probably both supports as well. But Grimstroke and Tree and Protector are both very strong in that situation. If they pick a carry that synergizes well with them, they'll be a very difficult to deal with tri-lane. I think Gyrocopter is a hero that they've been picking a lot on OG, and that is actually a hero that could deal with Enchantress. So that could be an option as well for them. Tiny is also a common pick, and that's still in the pool. We've got all sorts that they could pick right now.
As a refresher on Earth Spirit, he's one of the more complicated heroes in the game. He has boulders, and he can use these boulders in lots of ways. He can use them to stun, silence, slow, or deal lots of damage with his ultimate. Phantom Assassin's quite an interesting pick against Enchantress. She gets 4 guaranteed fast attacks. So that, hopefully, if you kill Enchantress during that period, you won't be affected by her ability to slow your attack speed.
You also have the daggers that allow you to deal your attack damage as a spell. It's got a short cooldown, and it's often used to secure last hits in lane. But if she does end up against the Enchantress, it can be a way of harassing the Enchantress down, because you can just keep on spamming these daggers against Enchantress, forcing her to use her own heal in order to keep herself alive. The heal is really strong. It heals for a massive amount, but it's also got quite a long cooldown, which means that if you go on the Enchantress between the heals, they may be able to bring her down. Also, great synergy with the Grimstroke. We talked about the Ink spell where you place a buff on an ally. You can place that on the PA. PA can jump in. Then while PA is using the 4 attacks, the Ink spell is kind of gaining its stun. It pops, stuns the enemy, and PA has even more time to do damage.
Crystal Main's a very basic support hero. She's often one of the beginner heroes that are recommended. She has an AoE slow ability, which has a decent amount of damage. She has Frostbite, which roots a hero to a location and deals good damage. Also lasts for 10 seconds on creeps, so it can be used to farm the jungle with. And she has a Piece de Resistance is her passive, which gives every allied hero mana regen, and she gets double that. Or it's not. It's more than double now, isn't it?
Huh? What do you mean? The
I can't remember the numbers. It used to be double.
Oh, between her mana regen and the team's mana regen, right?
It's more than double. It used to be exactly double. Now it's somewhere between double and 3 times. Crystal Main has the problem that she's very squishy. Phantom Assassin can throw out these daggers and potentially kill her in one.
Oh, Earthshaker is a really nice hero against the lineup from EG right now. So, to give a quick explanation on Earthshaker, he deals a lot of magical damage in team fights and also provides a huge amount of stuns. So he's got the Fissure. Fissure is also really useful in the early game because it places down a wall on the map. And that becomes impassable terrain for its duration of 8 seconds. It's often used to kind of block enemies away from a tower or to stop them from chasing after a kill. His ultimate also does massive amounts of magic damage based on the number of nearby enemies at the around him when he casts it. Terrorblade is a really interesting pick into the Earthshaker as well because Terrorblade is generally considered weak to that magic damage. But Terrorblade has very high base armor, so it's really strong against Phantom Assassin that does primarily physical damage. If they do manage to get enough stuns out on the Terrorblade to prevent him from casting his ultimate ability, Terrorblade feels like a very fragile hero. So that will be something to bear in mind when we're watching this game of OG versus Evil Geniuses. Terrorblade has the ability to swap health pools with an enemy. So if he gets low, but not quite dead, he can pick an enemy with high health, put them to low health, and he'll jump up to full health again. But if he gets disabled to the point where he dies and doesn't get that off, it is not a very strong hero in that scenario.
The thing I wanted to say with Earthshaker is one of the best counter initiators in the game, and what that means is usually they go after the enemy team starts. So EG will try and clump around a hero, and then Earthshaker will say, right, I'm jumping in on you, I'm gonna stun you all, I will abuse the fact that you're all there to do extra damage. And even in the early game, Earthshaker mostly just counter initiates. The Fissure can block, so it can prevent aggression, and it can also catch someone out. So Earthshaker usually doesn't start fights, but is very good at catching the enemy out. Lena is a mid hero, she's very nukey, all her spells are magic damage nukes. She's good at single target. She's probably going to buy an Aghanim Scepter this game, which makes her ultimate a huge single target damage nuke go through magic immunity. That's how Phantom Assassin is usually strong. And Invoker is the spellcaster. He has 9 spells that he can make out of the orbs that he spins around himself. Different combinations give different spells.
Yeah.
Thompson is known as one of the better Invoker players, but the way he plays is much less greedy than many other Invoker players.
And kind of, pretty unconventional. He quite likes Quas Wex, so there's kind of 2 different styles to Invoker. Generally referred to so he has 3 different abilities that determine the strength of his skills based on the ratio of these abilities. So Quas is generally more disable heavy, has lots of slows and stuns. Wex has kind of general utility, so kind of speeds up Invoker's attack speed, speeds up his movements, gives him a invisibility spell, disarm, stuff like that. And then Exhort is more kind of damage. So most of the spells that have a combination of something and Exhort, the Exhort will determine how much damage it does, Quas will determine how much disable it does, and Wex will determine how many other kind of negative effects or positive effects are caused.
Yeah, I don't know how to really explain what Wex does, it's just the other one.
Yeah, it's a good answer, isn't it? Well, we'll see plenty of his spells. He's got so many to explain, so we'll go over them as they come up.
Total number of teleports cancelled by 25. That's quite a hard one.
One I've put, not many.
Yeah. Player
Deaths
deaths
by
by 10.
10, or 11 to 15.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bloodbath. Who gets the longest kill streak? Based on the way OG play, it's probably gonna be Anna. They usually let him get all the kills.
Yeah, unless Thompson gets really, starts really popping off in this game. And
I'm gonna
highest
say
net worth
RTC
at
for
game
net worth.
name. Yeah.
The thing with Terrorblade is that you can just straight up win a game with the most, lose a game with the most net worth on that hero. It just farms all game. It needs lots of items, lots of gold for those items. So it's possible that you can just be farming all game, but your team is behind, and the enemy team with lots of farmed cores that aren't as farmed as you just have more impact against you. Especially if there's some good counters on the other team. Invoker has lots of area of effect spells. He has an area of effect disarm. He has tornado, which can throw everyone up in the air and does some good damage. Several area of effect damage spells. So he's quite good against the illusion heavy Terrorblade. Terrorblade has Metamorphosis. We're probably going to see that in lane. He's already leveled it up. It makes him a ranged hero for a period of time and gets bonus damage. And he has Conjure Image, which summons illusions of himself.
So, yeah, as I was mentioning, they are sending the tri-lane of OG to try and meet the PA into all of these heroes with the Terrorblade at top. Meanwhile, the Enchantress, they do not want that to be the matchup with PA, and it's going to be the Jerax on the Earthshaker. Earthshaker has an ability that increases his own damage a lot, so there's not going to be a lot of damage going out onto the Enchantress, but we will end up seeing a lot of times when the Earthshaker... Ooh, I completely missed that. Wow.
I completely missed that.
I was not expecting that. Whew. So the roll in from Earth Spirit, the slow from the Crystal Nova, and then all of the damage coming out from Terrorblade.
I was about to say, the lanes from OG are really weak. Phantom Assassin is really good once she gets level 6, but before then she might just have to last hit with the dagger. She hasn't got very good last hitting damage.
She's okay when they've got the tri-lane. No, when they've got the tri-lane it's fine, but there was only a dual lane at that point. Also, the Stroke of Fate has been taken by Grimstroke and not the Ixwell. Stroke of Fate is generally more of a kind of long-distance harass tool rather than a good tool for setting up kills on the enemy hero.
Earthshaker is also quite weak against the very strong lane of Enchantress. Enchantress is usually first ban because she's such a strong laner. As we see, she's really bullying this Earthshaker. Earthshaker's doing well in the last hits, though.
Yeah, the Earthshaker with that damage steroid, it does really help the Shaker
Oh,
just
mid.
get a few last hits.
Are we getting a kill? I think we're killing Thompson.
Oh,
Killing
yes!
Thompson.
I'm not sure if my network is failing, but I've got really bad lag on a lot of different...
Oh dear, Lena just got a regen rune after killing the enemy mid. She used a lot of mana, although the regen's cancelled. And they high five over it. Spirit is coming mid to further bully this Invoker, but he has a tornado. Smart boy. I'm looking at top again. Nothing's really happening at top.
they've now bullied them back away, so at least PA is getting a bit more farm again. So 12 last hits for 2, actually higher than the Terrorblade right now, but the wave is pushing into Terrorblade, so he'll probably equalise that on this wave.
Yeah, now it's a tri-verse dual lane, it's much less scary for the Phantom Assassin. Phantom Assassin and Tree is a really weak lane, so I'm glad they've got the Grimstroke up here now.
Ooh. Roll up by the Earth Spirit, but it looks like they'll just be able to disengage quite happily from that engagement.
Now Living Armor is up on the Treant Protector. This is a spell which gives a good amount of regen, but it has a number of charges, and if those charges are broken by attacks, if they are all broken, then the regen effect is lost. So it's quite good to prevent aggression.
Yeah, it's really strong if an enemy is coming at you and they do like a few instances of high damage, as you'll end up getting the full block amount on every time. But if they do like a large amount of very low instances, it will still block all of the damage, but it'll chunk through those instances very quickly, so you'll lose the health regeneration as well. Invoker does end up going down in mid. Tries to go for the rune, I guess, and then they roll over and the Luna rotates across. This Earth Spirit is making a lot of work happen in the mid lane.
As I was saying, all of OG's lanes are quite weak. The Invoker is a big playmaker that they'll probably want to rely on to salvage the bad lanes. Because they've gone for the Quaswex build, he is quite weak in lane. He has lots of regen on the Quas, but he doesn't have much damage to last hit or harass with. And he doesn't have the Forge Spirits, which are a small unit that can be cast using the Exort.
Yeah, it's kind of a peculiar setup for OG as a whole. They must have realized that the laning potential from EG is strong, and with a strong lane, you end up with the farmed Terrorblade. Terrorblade can farm very well in jungle and everything, so the better a start he gets, the kind of quicker he accelerates. Similar to how we see Alchemists and Wraith Kings in previous matches. It's like the early farm may not actually kind of be consequential compared to the late game farm. It's just how quickly you can kind of get to that farming pace that they really like to be at.
Oh, they're going on Invoker again. Will the EMP prevent them? Oh no, the ult comes out anyway, but there's the living armor.
I'm sorry, I am kind of playing while watching slideshow Dota. I'm going to leave the game and load back in and see if that solves this problem.
They're going back in on the Invoker. Crystal Maiden's here. Meanwhile, they actually turned a gank that happened mid. Invoker has a spell called Ghost Watch, which makes him go invisible. He used that to dodge some spells, and the Grimstroke came in to get the Ink Swell off, which stuns units, and they killed the Spirit. This has meant that Terrorblade is alone at top, so he's not doing great in lane.
The Enchantress with more, like level 6. Impetus deals more damage depending on how far the projectile of her attacks travels before it arrives. It ends up doing a huge amount of damage at the very first point where you get it, compared to the health pools of the heroes you'll be attacking. Grimstroke kind of ended up being taken down by this.
Just got a Midas, and the tier 1 tower is about to fall.
Yeah, with the early game advantage, I completely see why they're looking to go for like the slightly greedier build on Enchantress to go for that Midas. They feel like they can get away with it is all. Like, Midas generally makes you a little bit weaker in the immediate kind of wake of you getting it, but afterwards the additional farm that you end up achieving through the Midas will make up for that.
And the good thing for Enchantress is that Midas gives a good amount of attack speed.
Yep, and being an intelligence hero, it can be a little awkward finding attack speed on Enchantress. A lot of heroes go for early attack speed in the form of a Wraith Band. It's a really early stat item that gives you a good amount of agility and a good amount of attack speed. Agility also grants attack speed, so agility heroes really love it. It gives, like, they can easily get themselves up to like 20-30 extra attack speed just out of those, and it also gives a good amount of damage. If you're a intelligence or melee hero, it gets a little bit harder. Especially if you're one of the heroes that doesn't like picking up power treads. So there's some melee heroes where their armor is more of a problem than their attack speed, so they'll pick up the phase boots. Power treads being another item that gives attack speed, and phase boots give a little more movement speed, and also give armor. So it's a kind of awkward situation on those heroes where they feel like they need it.
So Thompson has an urn at the moment, although he doesn't have any charges for it. Urn gains charges every time a... It is just an enemy hero, isn't it, that dies? Yeah.
Yep.
I can't remember if it was any hero. But I can remember, that sounds a bit broken to me. So,
it doesn't matter if it's a deny. That's one thing that's worth bearing in mind. It doesn't actually have to be your team killing, just any enemy hero dying nearby.
It gains charges for that, and then it heals, and those heals can be used offensively to do a DPS. And he's probably going to upgrade it to Spirit Vessel, which does the same, but a lot more.
Total number of player deaths by 10 was not 11 to 15, 6 to 10. Disappointed. Not as chaotic a game as I thought, so OG... I feel like they're wasting some of the potential of this Grimstroke pick by not forcing the issue really hard in the early game against, like, especially this Terrorblade.
The thing is, I think their go time is right around now.
They're trying to make a go on Invoker, but it looks like he's just backed away.
So Seb on the Earthshaker, he's having a slow game, but he's doing okay. He's the most farmed on the Dire, actually.
I'll swap across to the net worth now. There's been a few kills, and it's starting to get to the point where heroes are taking jungle creeps. So Liz is a CS on the chart, but yeah, jungle creeps are generally not worth as much as the lane creeps. Ancient creeps are worth more than the lane creeps, so having the net worth up will be more indicative of, like, you know, where everyone is standing in terms of kind of overall strength. Levels are also important, but net worth I think is the biggest indicator. And most important for, like, the progress of the game going forward.
Smoke from the Radiant, although they don't have the Lina. The Lina is a very kill-heavy hero. Because she's got so many nukes, she's really good at killing, but it seems like she doesn't want to get involved with their smoke.
Shaker! Oh, wow, that was unfortunate timing right there. So they come forward to try and get to the Earthshaker. He ends up using the Enchant Totem just in time to prevent the Rolling Boulder from connecting. But, so yeah, the Rolling Boulder is when the Earth Spirit kind of charges forward through that. But they do manage to chase him down to get the kill. It's still a 3v1 situation. And Enchantress has a very strong slow. Even with a single point in it, it is a 55% slow for just shy of 4 seconds. The trade, though, is there. The Enchantress is going down. At 200 battle pass points goes towards the Crystal Maiden. Very important play.
So, what's happening on the map really right now? Ana on the Phantom Assassin is still farming, and they're going very Battle Fury.
Oh, looks like Lina might be going down. The Cold Snap and Urn combo is there. Invoker dodges the stun from the Lina, but the backup has arrived, so he has to escape. Grimstroke goes down on the back end to the Enchantress, and because the Treant Protector went invisible, they just commit the Freezing Field from Crystal Maiden in order to take him out.
Alright, it is go time for the Earthshaker. He has his Blink Dagger, well, when he wants to buy it. He has enough gold, there we go. They're probably going to smoke up immediately and try and get a kill with this. It looks like Grim is going towards... no smoke, but they definitely want to do something with this. The Blink Dagger means he can get a really good Echo Slam.
Battle Fury is a choice from the PA. I'm not sure I agree with this, but it does provide a bit more farming speed. Oh, wow, that ends up being a really nice catch. It's only the two supports, but to bring them down immediately with kind of no way of countering that.
And
The
there's
wall
a
blocks
blocking
in
Fisher.
the Enchantress, so she's not able to escape.
The only problem is she does so much damage.
It looks like they're more interested in getting the Lina pick off, but they're not able to do so in time. No one had any abilities left in order to attack the Enchantress, and with her 4 levels of Untouchable, that's 170 attack speed, taken off the enemy heroes that attack her. Yeah, they needed spells in order to kill the Enchantress, but it seemed like they were running on empty. I'm not sure. The Earthshaker did most of the work to kill the 2 supports at the beginning of the fight, so I'm not sure where everyone else's abilities were.
We see a lot of Enchantress because she's a really good lane dominator, and because she's quite hard to kill while dealing lots of damage.
Yeah, even later on, at later stages in the game, if you see the Enchantress as like, oh, she's the poorest core in the game. She'll also throw her impetus and do 200 pure damage and attack. So even without much farm, she becomes a very threatening hero.
You usually build the attack range items, so she's going for a Dragon Lance, which increases your attack range if you're a ranged hero.
Smoke up from OG, they're just looking to see if anyone comes to grab this bounty rune. It will spawn up right now. They're happy to grab it and rotate across again to see if anyone comes for this bounty rune. But it looks like the smoke play was scouted by this observer ward. No, that's OG's. They just read it.
Now,
Yeah.
the Terrorblade has done nothing but farm, and he is at the tippity top of the net worth. And this was what I was saying in the beginning about Terrorblade. All you do is farm. Even if you're losing, all you do is farm.
Invoker looks like all of the spells come out on Invoker. He does get taken out. That was a four-man commitment in order to take it out. And the Crystal Maiden and Lina ultis are both used. And the Magnetize. They throw everything.
The EG are playing very much 4, so as 4, that is. They've got the Enchantress running around the Earth Spirit running around with the Crystal Maiden, and the Lina sometimes joining. Oh, they're going on the Enchantress. Do they have enough in the tank?
Oh, the attack does not land. Oh.
There's the Silencer. Shaky can't get his ultimate off.
So, the Untouchable again, very frustrating to deal with. They cast all of their stuns perfectly combined. They end up getting the Enchantress down to about 300 HP, and they just cannot get any attacks. Oh.
Yeah, it feels really bad going on Enchantress.
The enchant totem from the Earthshaker, he really wants to be able to get that attack off in order to do the bonus damage it deals. If you read the description on it, he's ended up taking 4 levels in this. Deals 400% bonus attack damage on your next attack, but you need to land the attack. If the attack takes half an hour because of the Enchantress's attack slow, you're not going to get it off. Let's work this out. He has 124 attack speed right now. 100 attack speed is base. That means you're attacking at normal attack speed. Negative attack speed can happen. If you go to 0 attack speed, basically every 100 attack speed you drop below 100, your attack speed is like double base attack time and then higher. So he's dropping down to negative 50 attack speed, which means that he's on 2.5 times his normal base attack time to get an attack out. 1.7 is his base attack time.
Seconds.
So yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, about 4 seconds. Just shy.
4 seconds for an attack, yeah.
Just getting one attack out is taking him 4 seconds. He's gone the phase boots here. We talked about how if you pick up the phase boots on a strength hero, you're often lacking in attack speed. That's exactly what we see here. He's got 126, you start with 100. The 26 is from his base agility. He's got no additional attack speed items, and he's really lacking against the Enchantress for it.
We talked about this item build the other day. I can't remember who it was that did it. Was it Fichi Gaming's carry player? They went Battle Fury, Desolator, BKB. It's quite a greedy build.
Yeah, they're just lacking damage.
As well as the other Phantom Assassin. This Phantom Assassin isn't getting involved at all. She's 0-1-0, which means that OG are fighting 4v4 against EG, and because of that fat Enchantress who is very, not only farmed, but effective versus EG's heroes. Oh, and they're killing. Yep, there we go. Easy kill. So, there's a 4v4 going on with 2 heroes farming. One's farming much better, and the other 4 is losing, so...
Yep, Mandastyle already completed on Terrorblade, and he's going directly for the Butterfly. We've already talked about how OG are having trouble getting any attacks off. This is another method. He's going to end up with 35% evasion, so against the Enchantress they can't attack her because the attacks take too long. Against the Terrorblade they're not going to be able to attack him because the attacks miss. 35% of them will miss.
Yeah, this, I don't know how I feel about the strategy that OG are employing. I feel like Anna going for the Battle Fury was a bad mistake. I always say it when Phantom Assassins go for Battle Fury.
Early tempo. They have a fair amount of magic damage, but if you, like, just play around the enemy's magic damage, like, throw another hero in as bait, that sort of situation. If the Treant Protector dies after casting the ultimate, and after using, you know, a root and everything, you're not too sad about that in a team fight. He's gotten off his abilities. If the PA comes in afterwards and Laguna Blade is used on the Treant Protector, that'd be a perfect opportunity for, like, a normally vulnerable hero to be able to jump in and get quite a bit of effectiveness, because the counters to her on the enemy lineup might already be spent.
The Battle Fury doesn't actually increase their farm speed as significantly as some heroes, either, like say an Anti-Mage. So it feels a bit underwhelming.
Lackluster.
Like, she's got this big farming item that costs 4,000 gold, more than 4,000 gold to get, and she's still quite a bit behind the Terrorblade, who hasn't actually invested in a farming item. They're just using their, well, Mantistyle's kind of a farming item, but they mostly bought it because it's good with their hero. It synergizes well with the hero.
Yeah, so Battle Fury
does synergize well, but it's not as much as a Desolator.
500 GPM on the PA at the point in which she completed the Battle Fury. It's now up to about 520. It will push up a bit higher here, so she's probably going to push about 600. But Terrorblade's been on a stable 660 for this entire time.
Phantom Assassin needs to get involved now.
She still needs a Deso. Oh, she's got it. She's got the Deso now. Okay.
Got the Desolator.
Right.
That's why it's time to get involved. She hasn't got much time left to wait.
Now, we have seen OG come back in games in this situation. Comeback gold is really favourable for the losing team if they manage to win a fight convincingly. Buybacks are cheaper for the losing team. EXP bounties are really hefty when you kill higher leveled enemies. And the EXP is also going in EG's favour.
Okay, so Lena just dodged an EMP. EMPs take mana. Earthshaker is trying to take out the Earth Spirit. But they're focusing the Phantom Assassin because she doesn't have a Black King bar.
Yep, Laguna Blade comes out. PA
the Earth Spirit at the cost of everything. They even used the Echo Slam.
And Earthshaker's going to go down in return as well. So yeah, we were talking about how the Laguna Blade, they really need to wait until the Laguna Blade is popped on another hero before PA came in. Lena, really well played from her. She was actually standing around by the side shop and just hiding in these trees until the fight kind of broke out. Came in, cast Laguna Blade on PA. Perfect play. That's pretty much all she contributed. Just Laguna Blade and a couple of spells on PA. But she just hid until the PA showed herself, and there was a good opportunity to come forward and do that.
There's also almost an Aghanim's on the Lena. That makes her ultimate pure damage. And it also pierces magic immunity, so even when Phantom Assassin gets this Black King Bar, which is going to really help her fight, she's still going to have to deal with an Aha card from Lena.
Yep,
the ability to just fall to zero her almost. Well, it's almost half of her HP.
Desolator about to get countered by the Enchantress. She's going Solar Crest. She's very close to getting it. And she's going to be casting that forward on the Terrorblade to give him an additional 12 armor. Desolator only removed 7, so that's still like 5 armor up from where he would be normally. And Terrorblade normally has a lot of armor. He's already on 34. Oh, yeah, he went Butterfly, didn't he? 34 armor. This is ridiculous. He has 70% resistance to physical damage.
And there's virtually a Black King bar up as well.
Seb with the 99% probability of winning voice line. Oh, I think they know it. It's 10k gold lead. It's 23 minutes into the game. 24 minutes now.
Isn't that voice line randomized?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Grimstroke's quite good at pushing lanes out, and Treant Protector as well can heal towers. He's one of the only heroes in the game that can do that. But it's with the... Oh, they're going? Nah, they're just trying to burn the mana of this Terrorblade. Oh, they're going to get...
Shaker comes in. Oh no, he manages to get that health swap off. So we're talking about the ultimate. He swaps health with the Earthshaker, goes from very low all the way up to 2/3. The Echo Slam was available.
Yeah, the idea was that he didn't have mana, he couldn't use his ultimate, but he had a big wand, so he got it off.
Yeah, but the Echo Slam was available. Why was the Echo Slam thrown out at the point where he landed at the...
he was holding it because there's an Aegis.
Yeah, I assume so.
Oh, finish off that shrine. There we go.
Aegis runs out. Black King Bar and 1700 gold though on this Terrorblade. Invoker on top, Thompson on the Invoker, waltzing around, seeing if he can scout out any supports.
The Phantom Assassin hasn't had any input this game at all. She still hasn't got the Black King Bar. She's got a good chunk of farm, but she's not that hero. Terrorblade is the hero. Terrorblade would still have this level of farm if they were losing. She needed to go tempo controlling, not trying to keep up with her Terrorblade.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing to consider, not just how much net worth a hero has, but how much kind of strength that they bring to the table with that net worth. Phantom Assassin, when there are heroes on the enemy team that can deal magic damage to her, her net worth before she has BKB, if the enemy hold their magic damage for when she appears, all of that net worth feels inconsequential. So she's set on 14,000 gold at the moment. She's only just completed the Black King Bar. Previous fight she was on 10,000 gold though, and she died as if she had none of that.
I just feel like everything's gone a bit wrong for OG this game.
The lanes were a little weak, but the weakness in the lanes ended up kind of being amplified because they never managed to reclaim that.
Yeah, they had two heroes that could. The fast blink dagger on Earthshaker. He could maybe go for a good Echo Slam. He didn't. He managed to get the supports and then went into a lost team fight. And likewise the Invoker.
Too many commits to the Enchantress, I think, is the biggest part. They ended up with like 3 fights in a row where they were trying to kill the Enchantress, but the Enchantress with the attack slow just kind of neutralizes so much of their kill potential. If they don't have these spells to go out onto the Enchantress, they couldn't bring her down. So a lot of their spells were spent bringing the Enchantress from full health to say 20% health, and then the Enchantress would heal it all back up again because they wouldn't be able to do that last little bit. The Echo Slam on Earthshaker committed for those 2 supports. In mid, we talked about that fight. We really liked the play where they went for the Echo Slam. If they'd backed off and carried on, you know, farming at that point, that would probably have been worth it. Or if they didn't use the Echo Slam there, and instead used the Echo Slam to guarantee a kill on the Enchantress, which should have worked. If they use the Echo Slam around a load of creeps, it will do a lot of damage to Enchantress. They probably would have gotten the kill there. But Instead, they commit to the Enchantress after the Echo Slam is used.
The problem is they're playing entirely around this hero that's farming, that's being out-farmed, and they aren't even good with farm. They need to be really far ahead to be good, but they haven't worked to try and put the enemy team behind. They haven't gone for any tempo controlling build. With a fast escalator, they could jump in, get easy kills on the Crystal Maiden, maybe even the Enchantress, if they went early enough.
Yeah, and I feel like the PA pick was just a bit kind of weak.
It's partially the style that they're playing.
Ooh. PA jumps into the fight. The Triad Protector ultimate is down in order to disable them for a bit longer. They manage to take down the Enchantress. Finally, the blacking bar from... if you are Magic Immune, you are not affected by the attack slow. Yeah, there is the Laguna Blade.
Ends and all the magic damage comes in.
The buyback is there, though. Thompson is down. Thompson does not have buyback available. The Echo Slam lands on top of a good number of the enemy heroes, but it doesn't quite hit hard enough. And that's game.
Very good at following this Shaker. This is definitely game, if it's not cooled.
They'll probably do a little bit of a... yes, there were. The Enchantress and the Crystal Maiden both dropped, and both came back immediately. Crystal Maiden was the first death under the effect of the Grimstroke ulti, chained to the Enchantress, so a lot of the spells were kind of thrown out of both of those, so they were the two that went down. And then they both brought back and rejoined the fight. Without the BKB, again, now it's... Oh, wow, you've got the BKB. What happens if the BKB runs out?
Yeah.
Laguna Blade has a shorter cooldown than BKB. Three times Laguna Blade has come out onto the PA in these fights, and 3 times PA has died. Lina was the last pick for EG, but I feel like OG could have done a better job with their drafting in order to avoid leaving that kind of hole in their strategy.
Yep, this is pretty textbook what happens when you lose the game, lose the lanes. And all the potential that they had to come back from that was neutered, and they didn't play the right tempo.
Oof. That's 4.
I'm gonna go with crit. He did a lot of work.
He did a lot of work early, yeah. Some of the rolling boulders, the first blood onto Anna for the Terrorblade, kind of really turned the momentum of the game from the word go in Evil Genius's favor. But I really like that.
Had a hard time as well dealing with all the silences. And at one point, both Thompson and Earthshaker, both the Invoker and the Earthshaker, the two big cores from OG were dealing with this Spirit, and they had to use everything just to kill him. And he's just a support. So...
Oh. Tough game to start off with. That's got to be a really big hit to morale. Not 6 on your Thompson Invoker, not 4 on No Tail. No Tail kind of expects to go not something, though. That's not a surprise. Yeah. Only 2 kills on the carry. 8 kills overall to 26. Oh, it feels rough.
Yeah. There's just so many glaring flaws in their strategy from their draft and the way they played.
Okay. How am I doing on the... Oh, it'll be the achievements here. I'm wondering how I'm doing for the game predictions. 40 out of 50. 50 main event battle predictions. Oh, 10 away. 5 levels, here I come. Very important. I don't have the 10,000 trivia points. 1,000 points there. High fives can earn me another 2.5 levels. I need to spam out high fives in a game. Oh no. That's tough. I'm not going to make those two. Right. It's going to be a little bit of a delay before we get into game 2. But yeah, very convincing victory from Evil Geniuses. Kind of demoralizing game for OG. Hopefully they come back in game 2. I'd love to see a game 3 between these lineups as well. I feel like Evil Geniuses aren't going to change anything about the bans though. They're going to do exactly the same bans. It worked well for them. Like, you cannot look at this result and feel like, oh, there's stuff they could have done better. There's openings in that strategy. No, it's... I don't foresee the bans being any different, except for maybe the fact that if OG have first pick, they may be able to get the Enchantress, so the ban for the Enchantress may come out. OG should have first pick next game. Gyrocopter could have been a really good hero on the carry position. I'm not sure why they didn't do that. EG love playing the Terrorblade, and Terrorblade is generally quite weak to magic damage. Gyrocopter does a ton of magic damage. Really good against the Enchantress. Kinda bulky. Higher strength again than a PA, certainly. They've got a cool looking PA though. Like, they've got the Arcana and the hat and everything. Definitely influence their decision. The fact that they look like this. It's important. Okay, well, we'll take a little bit of a delay. Boop. Oh, it does need to be a... There we go.
like Leshrac is strong because of Shadow Demon. A lot of teams just go
Absolutely.
Shadow Demon Leshrac, or Shadow Demon Rana, or just Shadow Demon. I haven't really seen many Leshracs. Oh, sorry. Are you not streaming yet?
No, I've got to feel like I unmuted us.
Okay, cool. Was worried that all my analysis was going to waste. So yeah, the thing with Leshrac is it that strong without the Shadow Demon? It can set up its own stuns. It's got good
I think it
air
is.
effect,
Yeah.
damage.
Especially with the tower pushing strength. I think that's the biggest thing that people have been abusing. There's other heroes that do. Oh, there's the Ire and Magnus. As I said, even EG. I don't think they're changing the bans. First pick though is on OG.
I don't know if Leshrac is like first pick, first ban worthy without the Shadow Demon.
People have been doing it. He's so flexible to be able to go mid, offlane, and support. I think that's the other thing that people are worried about. Not necessarily how strong he is in the game, but how strong he is in the draft.
Yeah, it is really good to have a flexible draft in, I suppose. There's a few heroes like that right now. Elder Titan a little bit, because he can be a 5 or a 4. Always
What was their last
underwhelming as a
ban?
5.
Was it Alk, the last ban from EG last time?
OG had the picks changed.
No. The last ban on the side of
I mean the
evil
order.
geniuses.
OG had the last ban.
Yeah.
And OG
but-
banned Alchemist.
Yeah, OG ban. Okay. EG
and
ban
now
Alk. Yep.
EG ban.
And Enchantress, who could have seen this coming? They decided that it's
Yeah.
easier to fight into the Enchantress than the Alchemist. But OG banned the AA, so it was kind of forcing their hand, I feel.
And
there's the Elder
Time,
Titan.
which was banned last time. And then Mirana.
ET Marana. They set up for each other quite nicely.
Yep.
Well,
Not as nicely as
ET
Disruption,
sets into
but
Marana. It's like if the sleep hits, you're going to throw the chance at the sleep so often, you may as well like have something that combos with it if you do land it.
I think the sleep is cool because it can just make Enchantress go to sleep. Just be like, stand in that corner, have a nap, we're going to deal with your team.
Yep, we saw that in the game where there was a Wraith King and Enchantress together, and they just kind of zoned them out with the Elder Titan, like landed some crucial sleeps on both of them, which is really impressive. The Elder Titan in that game landed like in 3 different team fights, landed the double sleep on the Wraith King and Enchantress. Or you could argue it was bad play from the other side, having them grouped up so much that the sleep landed.
The nice thing about having the Mirana is the Starstorm. That's where she cools down 2 stars that do damage. Well, a star in every unit and 1 bonus one to 1 random unit. Which,
Closest.
if there's only 1 unit, it's... Oh, it used to be random.
It's the absolute
If there's only
closest
1 unit,
unit.
it's guaranteed. And that's a lot of magic damage nuke that could quickly burst through the Enchantress. So there is an option in this game. There was kind of underwhelming magical nukes last game, but now there's some good magical nukes, and that's what Enchantress is weakest to, because she can't be attacked. Because
Yep.
of
Her health pool is very low, her strength gain is very low, so the amount of health she gains every time she levels up is not very much. So she never really has much health to work with. You'll see her by Bracer. Bracer is an item that gives a little bit of magic resistance, like 6 magic resistance and 6 strength, which is 120 health. They'll buy 1, sometimes 2 of those in the early game just to tank up a bit. I think the Enchantress last game bought none and then went straight for the Midas. There was not enough magic damage pressure.
not enough pressure at all.
Yeah.
There is an Earthshaker again on OG. This is probably an offlane Enchantress, so it's a different position Earthshaker, but I feel like that's telegraphed. Earthshaker is a good pick because it's not clear what position it's going to be, but it's quite clear with the Enchantress it's going to be a 4 position. It could be a 4 position Enchantress, but we don't really see that anymore.
No, it used to be a thing. The slow is very strong, the heal is very strong. You mostly took those levels when you were going 4 position Enchantress, and just kind of used the inherent movement speed of Enchantress to bully the opponent. If they do harass you, you have kind of like a free heal to get yourself back to health.
So Kunkka was banned because there's only supports on EG, and Kunkka's good in every position, every core position, even decent as a support. So having that kind of flexibility kind of helps OG draft. So they don't have that flexibility, so OG knows what the heroes are going to be that come more likely. The Ember Spirit ban, I've talked about Ember Spirit being one of the best heroes in the tournament, one of the best core heroes in the tournament. Because of the range of Sleight of Fist, he can get the chains off, which is a route that does a lot of damage. He's also really hard to pinpoint and catch. So he can initiate fights from a long distance while staying absolutely safe and doing tons of magical damage.
Yep, also very such an evasive hero to deal with, and with all of these kind of delayed control effects that EG have already picked up. Elder Titan, he has a delay on getting his sleep out. Mirana, she throws the arrow, but there's the delay before it arrives. The chance of Ember Spirit to get out from both of those effects is very high. So they'd basically be relying on probably their second support pick. Or their off lane to be able to get that instant disable on him. I think they're just not confident in that.
And Ogre.
Yeah, there's the off laner, I believe. Mirana and Elder Titan, I feel like they're going to be the support heroes here. So Mirana 4 and Elder Titan 5, with the Ogre Magi as a 3-roll. We've seen it a lot. If the Ogre Magi has a good lane, or if the Ogre Magi has an okay lane, or if the Ogre Magi has a lane that's bad, but not too bad, he'll probably buy the Midas.
Because Midas can multicast and use on multiple units, it's just so valuable. And Ogre's pretty hard to push out a lane as well. Yep, even against an Enchantress, he would probably be able to just sit and farm 1v1. He wouldn't be able to stop Enchantress farming, but Enchantress wouldn't be able to stop Ogre farming. Ogre has so much health, so much armor. It's just hard to stop.
Yep, 7.5 starting armor. So I think at level 2 it goes up to 8 on the tooltip. But yeah, huge amounts of armor for a level 1 hero. Second highest in the game behind Terrorblade that we saw the other game. And the one down from that is Spirit Breaker. So like, you know, really tanky heroes. Oh, Techies is actually up there now because his armor got buffed at level 1.
So there's a Faceless Void. Faceless Void has one of the biggest teamfight spells in the game. Chronosphere has a ball that stops time, a bubble that stops time, for even his own units. This has really good synergy with Enchantress, and she has really big attack range and deals lots of damage. So even if this Void isn't particularly farmed, a good Chrono can still get a lot done.
Yeah, a little bit of a counterplay from the Elder Titan is possible here, though. Faceless Void's Chronosphere is about as large as the Stomp radius, so, like, if you can react fast enough, you can kind of turn the 4 to 5 second Chronosphere, and you can neutralize it with the, 1.6 second Stomp duration. Here's a Gyrocopter. I kind of wish the Gyrocopter was picked by OG last game instead of the PA, because Gyrocopter brings a ton of magic damage. In the early and mid-game, probably about 2/3 of Gyro's damage in fights is magic damage, and against Enchantress, really, really effective ways of dealing with her. Even Gyrocopter's attacks can land on Enchantress very easily, because of an ability called Flat Cannon he has, where when it's active he gets up to 6 attacks at max level, where he attacks one unit, and an attack flies out to hit every unit within range. Including Enchantress. So the primary target can be another hero, and Enchantress will still take all of those flak cannon attacks without slowing down Gyrocopter's attack speed.
And there's so much magic damage from Gyro as well that Enchantress is
honestly
in danger
toast.
this game.
If Gyrocopter gets on top of Enchantress, Rocket Barrage from Gyrocopter, it deals a huge amount of magic damage. It's one of the most damaging skills in the game. As far as, like, you know, single target or, like, nukes are concerned. The issue is, it spreads between multiple enemies within range. So, if Gyrocopter is on top of Enchantress and there's nothing else nearby, all of that damage is going to go into Enchantress, and she's going to die in, like, 2 to 3 casts of that ability. Even if he can't get an attack out, he's got a way of dealing with the Enchantress.
I feel like EG's draft is just really strong right now. There is the potential on OG for Chronos to put the game in their favour, as well as big Earthshaker plays and Tiny potentially just blowing people up, but
I feel like the
it just
biggest
seems like-
issue with that lineup right now is the lack of damage. All of their damage is the Gyrocopter. If he gets caught in the Faceless Void Chronosphere, if he gets brought down in the Faceless Void Chronosphere, then the damage is basically like maybe Earth Splitter lands, maybe Ogre gets a multicast.
Yep, that's true. Although they've still got a mid hero to pick, and they had
Yeah, that's what they'll fill up. Yeah, fill up. Yeah, that's
Lena
what
was
they're
a very
going
good
to be
magic damage hero.
looking for as their last pick. So we'll see what the ban is from OG. But yeah, Evil Geniuses are looking for a mid hero that they can draft that deals a lot of damage. Kunkka has been taken out by one of the bans from OG already, and Ember Spirit was taken out by Evil Geniuses ban, which they might really like right now, but it's gone. Leshrac too. All of these heroes are mid heroes that we see that deal a lot of damage.
As
OG
I said,
is
there
another
still
one.
the Lena that they had last game. They are running out of options. Other than that, there's Windrunner maybe. Windrunner's not so popular this tournament. Death Prophet isn't so bursty, but good.
Windrunner
damage over
support
time.
has been far more common than Windranger core.
So yeah, I think it could be Sniper, but probably not. There's a few options. There's a few damage dealing mids.
I think
as
Lena
options.
might be just a little too delicate. Like the tiny burst is going to be a real problem for Lena in the early games if they go with that option. I'm just trying to think of other heroes that they could go for. But that's like the hole in their draft that they need to fill right now. Whereas OG, they look like they've got a great lineup right now. Enchantress and Void both bring out a lot of damage. Same with the Tiny. They've got Disable from the Earthshaker, the Void, and the Tiny. They've got tankiness on the Earthshaker, the Void, and the Tiny, and the Enchantress against attacks. But we've already discussed how they've got a couple of solutions for that one on EG. There's a lot fewer holes on the OG lineup.
That said, it just.
And that's a really defensive pick. So Earthshaker is going to be the offlaner, and Oracle is now the 4-roll.
No, Oracle's a 5, Earthshaker's a 4, and Enchantress is a 3.
Oh, yeah.
I just feel like EG's draft is less well-rounded, but better at dealing with OGs.
Yeah. OG's lineup in isolation is really strong. EG, they seem to have picked their lineup around dealing with OG's lineup.
And it's still a fairly strong draft anyway. Still.
Yeah.
Not.
Only one reliable disable so far, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I quite like the Lena. Just another unreliable stun, but another stun nonetheless. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, Gyrocopter's now a mid-hero. We keep thinking Gyrocopter's going to be a carry, and they keep playing it mid.
No for Gyro. Disappointing. I've even seen off-lane Gyro. Oh my goodness. If all you're going to give the Gyrocopter is levels and mediocre farm, he may as well have no farm, because his spells are good enough anyway. That's my thoughts on Gyrocopter. If he only has middling farm, if he's middle of the pack, his attacks feel lackluster, but his spells are still strong. And his spells are strong if he has no farm whatsoever, so why are you giving him any? He's in mid, he will get a lot of farm in this game, but at the same time, the space is going to be taken by the Terrorblade.
We saw Gyrocopter Terrorblade by VP and it didn't work very well. The Gyrocopter had drums and BKB and then got nothing else.
Yeah.
Except killed a lot.
Yeah, and again, the Terrorblade is going to have room to farm because the Terrorblade takes the jungle, but then the Gyrocopter has no room to farm. He's too delicate to go onto the other side of the map, and if he farms the jungle, then it hurts the Terrorblade. If Terrorblade farms the jungle, it hurts the Gyrocopter. Neither of them can cross the map, because until they have money, they can't cross the map. Oh, this is that Terrorblade pick is a really peculiar pick. If they picked just a mid-hero that did consistent damage, even the Invoker, going Exort Invoker would have been fine here.
I don't even think Gyrocopter's necessarily very good versus Tiny in lane.
Not in lane, no. Really bad.
Gyro has really poor damage on the right click, the last hitting with. There's the fact that Tiny has amazing, some of their best in any mid laner, especially with the Quelling Blade that he has. Highest net worth by 25.
I still got to be Arteezy, right? They're going to give him the
Yeah.
room.
It's just that's
It'll
how
be
Terrorblade
at the
works.
cost of Gyrocopter, but they're going to give him the room. I think net worth by 10 is actually going to be Topson, though. If they can contest like the lanes well, like the Topson with his massive attack damage advantage against the Gyrocopter, I don't think he's going to have any problem.
Thompson usually just rotates a lot though, so he's not a safe pick. I reckon I'm gonna put Anna just because
Most Roshan kills. Neither team has a great Roshan draft, but I think OG's is better because they've got the Enchantress to help tank it.
I feel like it's who's gonna take an early lead is gonna have time to do Roshan, so I'm thinking
Also OG, right?
OG. Yeah.
But yeah, Tiny against the Gyrocopter in mid is a really sad time. We talked about how much damage Rocket Barrage does. There's kind of two tactics on Gyrocopter in lane. You either spam Homing Missile and cast that as often as possible, or you spam Rocket Barrage and do that on the enemy hero. But Tiny, his health pool is really high. He actually has very low armor at level 1. He gets the armor later with levels in his ultimate, but at level 1 his armor is very low. He doesn't care, though, about the Gyrocopter spells because his health pool is high. If the Gyrocopter could do a lot of physical damage early, that would be fine, but Gyrocopter is magic damage early, then physical damage in late game. It's going to be a really sad time.
We talked about Enchantress having a bad time because of the Gyrocopter. Well, they're not even laning the Gyrocopter against the Enchantress now. So I expect Enchantress is going to have a good game, and I'm thinking that prediction I'd made might be wrong. I think Enchantress might be the most farmed by 10 minutes.
Yeah, I still think there's potential of it being Tiny. I left it on Tiny.
They're going on the Oracle. Did they hit an arrow? I think they did.
Ooh, he got very low, but he's not quite dead. Ogre Magi is getting low, but Ogre Magi is Ogre Magi. Look at this. 12.7 health region with the Tango, and the Bassi start from Mirana. So Ring of Basilius gives an aura of 2 armor, taking Ogre from 8 to 10. Oh, it is full 8 to start. Ooh, dive for the Terrorblade. It's going to be interrupted by the Elder Titan, and they're going to have to back off now. Oh,
it is worth noting that Enchantress's passive doesn't work on towers. So they might...
neck and neck between the Enchantress
themselves.
and Topson for net worth by 10. Ooh, Rocket comes out on Tiny, and Tiny doesn't care.
Yeah, he'll probably get a bracer after boots. I still don't know what they're trying to achieve with this Terrorblade pick.
I'm not sure.
It gives a really good win condition. Terrorblades are really good at killing towers, but...
there were just so many different heroes. They could have gone mid. We've even seen Bristleback mid. Just they needed damage.
They just played Lena, like...
Yeah. Lena would have been a great pick. I feel a little delicate, so the Tiny might be able to burst the Lena if she gets caught out of position, which is why I was thinking the Bristleback potentially. I mean, Bristleback isn't a traditional mid-hero, but it would have been a really great fit for their draft.
Yeah, I don't doubt, like, RTZ playing this hero. Like, if this was a pub, I'm sure he would be like, you know what, I'm just gonna play some Terrorblade. Well, however he talks, I can't remember how he talks. But there we go, it's blocked.
Gyrocopter uses his entire mana pool, casting rocket barrages at the Tiny. Tiny's on half health. Tiny is fine. Oh, there's the first blood.
Yeah, I feel bad for missing that.
Yeah, I missed it too. It looks like the Mirana got really low, so maybe there was a play towards the Mirana, and the Mirana managed to leap away and stay alive. But the Oracle ended up dying, and
Gyrocopter is like harassing this Tiny, but Tiny's got so much health pool that it's still underwhelming. Like, there's so much damage he does, but it's not enough versus such a tanky hero.
Yeah, and like he's not very tanky against physical damage in the early game. The way of countering Tiny, with 0 armor, you get a Blightstone early, you hit really hard with your right clicks, and you just attack him. You keep attacking him. But Gyrocopter isn't that hero. Gyrocopter isn't a hero that can really do that very well.
I think
his base damage is so low.
The fattest I've gotten in mid, personally, myself, is when I picked Tiny against Scareth. I just thought, right, Scareth does loads of magic harass, I'll just pick a really tanky hero. And yeah, Tiny's just really good at these kind of heroes. Good against them. You just buy a bracer, and...
Okay, Major takes a bit of damage.
In fact, he's killing Samael. No, he's not, but Samael's not killing him. I don't think. Oh, maybe.
Oh, Samael dives under the tower and ends up taking the tower aggro instead of that creep because he was using the attack on Tiny. So if you are mid-attack command, it's really peculiar, the tower aggro. The tower decides targets based on like a priority list. And the highest priority on that priority list is an enemy hero that is attacking an allied hero. So whenever the tower is about to attack a new target, it checks its priority list, sees, like, checks for the first one, moves down the priority list in turn. And that time, because the creep moved in range of the tower first, but Gyrocopter was there pretty much at the same time, and before the tower decided who to attack, he came in trying to attack the Tiny, and the aggro went on him. If the aggro went on the creep instead, I feel like Gyro may have actually tried for the trade there. And that's the first level in Grow, so he's got 10 armor. The opening is gone. And the toss back towards the range creep. He tosses it towards the dire range creep in order to ensure the last hit and do a bit of harass. Oh, and Mirana is found. Mirana is being routed by the Oracle. She gets a leap off first. And the arrow on the Tiny, but it's a short range arrow, so the disable is not very long. Tiny is catching up with her. The toss is going to come out in order to finish her off. And that's a easy kill for the Tiny. Highest net worth by 10 minutes. It's the Ogre. What? Ogre's in the lead right now.
What?
Terrorblade gets taken down. Oh, what? It had new value. Oh, it's literally just swapping between them. Oh, and it looks like the Enchant Totem from the Earthshaker comes out to finish off the Elder Titan. I was expecting the Enchantress to throw another attack out, but nope, the Enchant Totem is there from the Shaker. That's that massive damage that we were talking about last game that he just never managed to get off on the Enchantress from EG. It's a really strong ability, but it's just very effectively countered. They've actually sent the Gyro to top now. Are they going to be permanently landing him here? At the very least, there's going to be a gank on the Enchantress from this Gyrocopter. We talked about how good he is against that hero. The rocket is going to be cast from the trees, the ultimate comes down, and Enchantress will likely go down here before any response can come out. The sleep is not enough. No, that's not enough. The heal was also on cooldown, so that was really nicely timed to coincide with the lack of the Enchantress heal. We talked about how good the heal is, but how there is a big opening between it while it's on cooldown. Tiny goes on the Mirana in mid, just an attack. Yeah, he's backing off back to the creeps. Yeah, I think I am going to be right with the Tiny. You did not have faith.
He's just on his heels, though.
Oh, you didn't have faith. Oh, they're trading hits. He finally gets the bash. But, the Ogre Magi has enough armor and regen that he doesn't care. And the Void, after taking that harass, uses Time Walk, so gets his health back as well. Kind of feels like a pointless exchange, if you ask me.
Terrorblade is below the Earthshaker. On network.
Oh my goodness. He's died so many times at top, this Enchantress is wrecking him. We talked about... we don't know what he's doing on this Terrorblade. Yeah, it's feeling useless.
Yep, Gyro's got to do something.
The arrow lands on the Enchantress just before the Enchantress manages to take down this Elder Titan. And it looks like, yeah, the Gyrocopter has returned to top lane. Maybe he's going to be a permanent fixture in this lane from now on in order to do something about this Enchantress.
Is killing the Terrorblade.
They find the Terrorblade jungling.
Terrorblade. We mentioned it, it's not even a good hero this game particularly.
Yeah. We talked about how the weaknesses of the Terrorblade, if he manages to die before he gets his ultimate off, he feels like a really fragile hero. There were some fights last game when the Terrorblade was fighting every single time he got his ultimate off when he was low. So it was a perfect kind of fight for the Terrorblade each time. Void, though, with his 5-second hard disable on the Chronosphere in late game, is such a good hero at stopping that strength from the Terrorblade. Elder Titan walks into Tiny. Elder Titan just walked straight into him. What? They saw each other, and then Elder Titan was like, you know what? I'm going to run into this guy, and tanks a couple of attacks, and now he's going to die. He died. Terrorblade is there, but Tiny doesn't... Oh, Tiny might actually go down to this now, but he teleports away. There's no more disables. The Ogre has already used his stun. The Ogre already used his stun. They both teleport out. Oh, Metamorphosis used from Terrorblade there as well. He has to go and get some farm off the back of that. I did.
Yep, Terrorblade is 3rd lowest net worth.
Last game we were complaining about the PA not having farm and the Terrorblade having all of it. Now the Terrorblade has no farm.
They need to make space for this hero, but no one can do it. Gyrocopter isn't a space creating mid. Ogre isn't a space creating off lane.
Gyrocopter can be a space creating mid, but he was just kind of suppressed by this Tiny. Now the Tiny's creating more space than him, so the... Oh. Oh my goodness, he died again!
GG boys.
They have a ward!
As you would say.
They have a ward scouting that camp. Terrorblade was just farming the camp and getting low. The Earthshaker walked in, cast with the enchant turnip ready, threw the Fisher down onto Terrorblade and hit him. The interrupt on the stomp, and he dies. Tower died at 11 minutes dead on, so I get the correct prediction there.
I'm feeling filthy watching this game. I'm gonna be honest.
This just feels like... It wasn't even an outdraft. It was just the last pick was... I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah. We've already seen these two heroes don't have very good synergy.
Mirana was briefly above the... So after the Terrorblade just died, Mirana was briefly 8th in net worth.
They're getting him.
Yeah, 8th net worth on your 1 roll. It's happened again. Look at it. He's below his own 4 roll.
Thankfully, Gyro is quite well farmed.
Oh no, this is not... That's not enough.
But
if this was... like, there's plenty of heroes where, like, if you've got a core and they don't have much farm, like the Magnus. We've seen Magnus offlane be, you know, alongside the supports in net worth and still have a huge impact because he's got the buff, he's got the RP. That's not Terrorblade. If anything, the Gyrocopter should be the one without the farm.
oh gosh. Okay. They're making it happen. That was a really nice combination from crit and S4. S4 used the stun. Crit hit the arrow. Void's actually quite tanky if he doesn't get his Q off. And he died.
Oh, Gyrocopter's taking the farm off the map. And that just makes it even harder for Terrorblade to play his game. We said there's no space for both of these heroes. They decided to give the space to the Gyrocopter and not the Terrorblade. They just kind of hurt each other. Terrorblade has to be handed the tome. Which means that Elder Titan isn't getting level 6. Yeah. Elder Titan is 5.5. Tiny, they're caught in the middle of between the towers on OG, but they've got 4 heroes here. They came in force. And with their advantage, it looks like they might be able to do a fair amount here. Tiny is actually saved by the Oracle before he goes down. Manages to take down the Ogre, but now it's just a trade so far. The heal comes out from the Oracle ulti. Terrorblade joining this fight is a questionable decision. They kite him away. He turns
Like
up
he
with the
was really gonna do
metamorphosis
anything.
active, and he wasn't able to do anything. Well,
He
it's
was
more the
about to
use
attack
of the
Enchantress and
metamorphosis.
decided,
That would
"This is gonna
take
take a
too
while."
long.
Yeah, he is climbing up the net worth now. He's got a metamorphosis. He's got some jungle space. Gyro's in a different jungle.
Ooh. Big combo plays on that gyrocopter.
EG are playing really well as 4. They are playing well as 4.
Oh, but the Tiny comes in. The Chrono on 3! They're actually going to try and finish off the... Oh, it's because the wall. He'd already used the jump, so he had no way of crossing the wall for a short amount of time. The slam comes down on the Ogre Magi. Not sure if that's the most worth it use of it, but that's what he chooses to do. Lots of nuke damage coming down on the gyrocopter, but the gyrocopter is just responding with rocket barrage, and it's doing so much. Tiny isn't done. Tiny tries for the Elder Titan. Does not manage. Like, the creep died in mid-air, so the toss never landed. Tiny still isn't done. Tiny is just teleporting out. He is done.
Okay, now this is going in EG's favour. They've got the tempo they want. Thompson still doesn't have a blink. He's just about to get it.
And Bounty Rune's 2 for 2, so... But that feels pretty good for OG finishing up that blink on the Tiny. But think about the scaling as well. Like, the only reason they're doing really well right now is because the gyrocopter is getting a lot of work done with his abilities. If they start getting Black King bars, but if the Chrono... The Chrono, it was really peculiar. He cast the Chronosphere and then he immediately headed towards the Mirana instead of heading down towards... He dug up a stasis trap. What? Why is that in the game? Why is that in Pro Dota?
Oh well. Bless Anna, he's trying.
Oh, they get
Yeah.
2 D wards here. That's pretty nice for the OG side to get some control around Rosh Pit. First Roshana still considered OG.
EG have weathered the storm. Arteezy's coming back a bit.
But we talked about the effectiveness of the Enchantress without a huge level of farm. That's not the case with Arteezy. He does need a lot of farm in order to have an impact on that Terrorblade, whereas the Enchantress, one of her major strengths is if she doesn't get the farm, she still has impetus. She still does a ton of damage in these fights.
Yeah, OG have been making mistakes, and that's kind of how EG have gone back in. They got caught out by combos, you know, the arrow combo.
I really
Arrow's
hate
like
those Terrorblade wings.
interesting factor. It can be really terrible if you miss it, but if you get it, if you have setup for it, it's really great.
Yeah,
And
the Terrorblade wings just look so bad. They look awful.
yeah.
They look like bingo wings.
Oof.
You know, like they're just the sagginess at the bottom end. You'll see it really a lot when he turns around, but yeah, I hate that cosmetic. I wanted to take time out of the stream, I wanted to take time out of the analysis to talk about how his demon form looks ugly.
Oh, we got the tower. Ooh. Thompson with the blink in, but he only killed a support. Is it enough? Okay, it might be. They're going on the Ogre.
So here's that damage from the, so the armor on Ogre is really weak against the pure damage of Enchantress. Enchantress does manage to get hit by the arrow, but she's got the, what's it called? Fate's Edict on her from the Oracle. Fate's Edict blocks all magic damage, but it does disarm you. So it's a really good defensive skill if against the target that's gone on by... Oh, Gyrocopter's running out of mana. He's not going to be able to cast any more spells here. He does just manage to run away with the sleep. So that was a very good defensive sleep there.
Here he is. Here he is, the man, and he got the Ogre. That's it. That's really disappointing. And Enchantress was caught in the Chrono as well, but they still got
it's a dead Ogre. Yeah, it's not good, but they didn't lose the fight.
Okay, so I like Gyro's bought an Ags, and I like he's going for a Satanic. I like this.
Yeah, he just wants more survivability on himself. The Ag Satanic combo. So Ags is, means that you attack nearby enemies every 1.1 seconds. It crucially is not disabled while you're disabled, which means that he has a way of attacking even while stunned. Even while caught in Chronosphere, that 1.1 second cooldown attack is still going to keep on ticking out. If he goes Satanic, he gets 25% lifesteal. If he activates it before the Chronosphere comes out, he gets 200% lifesteal for 5 seconds. And those little attacks that keep on plinking out of him while he's in the Chronosphere can potentially keep him topped up on health and make him really difficult to kill. Even without the active on the Satanic, it's still a really annoying thing to deal with. Just that tiny amount of health coming back every time. Ooh, aggressive movement into the jungle, but it does end up meeting the Jerax. And Jerax just seems happy to leave.
I think they were like ships in the night. I don't think they saw each other.
I think they did. They must have done, right? The pings are coming out. Yeah, that was a ping from Marana across to where Jerax is standing right now.
No?
Oh, Ultimate comes out from the Oracle, and he keeps himself alive very easily with that. There's nothing they can do in order to, like, damage that. The ultimate lasts for so long. It's an 8-second duration. So if they had committed really hard in order to try and kill the Oracle off the back of that, they had more than enough time to teleport in heroes and punish it. So Gyrocopter just leaves, but he's happy to spend that cooldown. It's nearly 2 minutes, the cooldown on that ability, and it's such a strong save, it won't be up now to keep a core alive. 2 stuns land in a row. The arrow and the missile both end up hitting, and then they back off. So, patient play from EGE. They land an arrow and, like, landing the arrow in the rocket and then backing off is a really peculiar thing to happen. Normally you'll see, like, stuns of that duration landing and then immediately an initiation comes.
Oh, he got the combo on the Terrorblade, but then Terrorblade had enough HP. He got the Sunder off and complete out of the game.
He's only got 1,000 health. How on earth did the combo not kill him in one go?
That is a good question. Hang on. What does Ogre have? Ogre doesn't have
Oh.
I feel like this shouldn't be happening. OG are making so many mistakes. I think the combo must have missed slightly.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I can see Terrorblade not just straight up dying there.
Avalanche does 3 times damage to units being tossed. The toss duration is like... So if the toss and the avalanche come out at once, it ends up doing a total of something like 1,200 damage. Now 1,200 magic damage against Terrorblade, his magic resistance is going to drop that down to like 900. So it's still not quite enough. It's just a little bit shy of the 1,060 health. But the Tiny should get a couple of attacks in with his Echo Saber, and that should cover the difference. Really peculiar. I'm really not sure how we lived there. The combo must have been off, as you say.
Yeah, I was watching it, but it looked like it was on, but I don't know, maybe it wasn't quite.
And from 8th in net worth, he's now 3rd. So RTC is doing really well to catch up with the space that he's being given. Again, somehow they're winning fights on the EG side. Oh, that Invis is not going to come out in time in order to save the Ogre. So that is Ogre dead and the Marana ulti used. They immediately smoke. They never use the Chronosphere and they want to make an aggressive play off the back of it. The Marana ulti is going to run out very soon in about 4 seconds time. And the smoked up heroes from OG are closing in on the Terrorblade.
There's the ultimate. Oh, there's the counter initiate.
They haven't used the Chronosphere yet. Oh, there it is.
Chrono just to make sure.
And the Gyrocopter is now called out as well, so that's 4 heroes dead for none.
See, this is
only the Terrorblade stayed alive. The Elder Titan even. The Elder Titan is the 5-year-old. They lost positions 1 through 4 there.
I talked about the strength of OG's lineup, and we haven't seen it most of the game because they've been making lots of mistakes.
Yeah, you take out a couple of heroes at the beginning of the fight, and then the rest of the fight just feels like the numbers advantage is overwhelming. And that's exactly how they did it. They used the Shaker Slam, they used the Tiny combo, they used the Void ulti, and they turned the fight into like a 5-on-2, and then Gyrocopter had to be abandoned by Elder Titan. If he stayed around, it would have been 5 deaths instead of 4. So they kind of use their abilities one by one in perfect succession, and there's no kind of openings for for EG to turn the fight around in their favor. It's just relentless ultimate after ultimate and combo, and everyone on EG drops.
Considering how behind RTZ was, OG shouldn't have given them a room back in, but it's good to see them be able to take it back. And OG,
they smoke into Roshan.
Don't have anything.
Do they know?
Fight with.
They're teleporting across.
They don't have the Corona. They don't have Slam.
They don't even have the False Promise.
This is a really good read by OG. All the big team fight spells are down, so why not just force a fight to Roshan?
See what I mean by like bingo wings though? Look at that. It's just so... Oh, it's disgusting. I don't know why you would choose to use that cosmetic.
I know, RTZ does often pick cosmetics that he dislikes just because of... Number
one tip to being a better Dota player: stop having bad wings on Terrorblade. Yes! Yes! I agree with that analysis. Thank you, Runar. He's feeding, he has bad wings and he's feeding. Related? I think so. He gets the ultimate off, but luckily the Tiny is being saved. Oh, the Elder Titan manages to get the damage in at the end of it though. So the Oracle tried to save the Tiny there, and it looked like it was going to be a save, but the Elder Titan with the ultimate, it does maximum HP percentage damage.
Okay.
Ogre Magi finally goes down, but that trade is very favourable for EG. They're very happy with that. However, the Chronosphere was not used. So if they do manage to pick off someone now, it could easily turn. That is not the real one. Please do. Okay. Okay, we're good. We're good. I think those ones are the visually different ones anyway, so... Oh, the arrow lands! That's a very long arrow. They do have the stun from the Shaker and the Earth...
Oh, and the arrow... The homing missile changes target.
Oof.
If the original target dies, and that's what just happened to hit the Earthshaker as soon as he blinked in.
He blinked in, and he was hoping to use his wand, use his Soul Ring, and get the Echo Slam off. But the missile hit him at that very same moment, and he wasn't able to do anything there. That is kind of tragic. He didn't have the mana to do it initially, which is why he died on 190 mana, and this is like blued out because he didn't have enough mana for it. But like he had the wand, he had the Soul Ring, he could have gotten the mana, and he was planning on just immediately casting the Echo Slam. It actually would have come too late to save the Void, but it might have been able to get some return kills because there was an entire creep wave and 3 heroes.
Aegis.
Yeah, but not necessarily on the Mirana was there too. The Mirana is the more likely kill there.
Yeah, and that wouldn't be worth it.
No,
not Echo Slam.
Not the Echo Slam, probably. Who's the other hero there? Elder Titan? Yeah, it must have been.
Yeah, I don't think...
It could potentially have taken down those, but he just dies as well. That's kind of unfortunate.
So, all the ultimates are back on OG. Are we going to see, again, why I think their lineup is better? Or are they going to get picked off, picked apart, and outclassed by EG? Which is really weird to say, because OG have been the stronger team this tournament.
It'd be really odd to see them drop into the lower bracket in this round. I was expecting OG to take this, probably take the first game. Because,
they're going on the Ogre. Wait, that's not an Ogre, that's a Tiny, my bad. They're going on the Tiny, and they got him. So, yep, still being picked apart.
They do spend everything on that. Well, they... mostly the Metamorphosis being used is pretty big. So...
But it's an Arcane Rune.
Oh, Arcane Rune Metamorphosis. Yeah, that's pretty nice. So only 100-second cooldown instead of the normal, 160. One of the biggest problems with Terrorblade is Metamorphosis is a bit like his ultimate. It's a buff to him that makes him a ranged hero instead of a melee hero. It gives him bonus damage on his attacks. It's really strong, but it's got such a long cooldown, so when its downtime is on, again, you feel like it's his ultimate instead of Sunder. Or you could argue that he feels like he has 2 ultimates. Either is true. I'm going to have to leave the stream for just a second. I believe I've got a delivery, so I will be right back. Feel free to carry on casting.
it was really weird to see RTZ after that team fight just go, no, I'm gonna jungle now. You guys get the tower. I guess they still got the tower. They weren't gonna get anything else, so makes sense. Make use of that time, but if OG had gone there, he might have been a bit far away to get much done. Bit of a weird decision, but it worked out. Is anything else happening on the map right now? It's just a farm game. There's a BKB up on Enchantress. That's gonna really help, because all the threats that she's getting right now are from the Gyrocopter's magic damage. I need to find out if the Gyrocopter sidegunner from the Aghanims, if that works on Enchantress, is untouchable.
I am back, and yes, it does. Similar to Monkey King Illusion, you know, the Monkey King soldiers, they have a fixed base attack time and attack speed. Addition and reduction does not work on them.
Thought so. So that's quite a good counter to the Enchantress. Jero is just consistently finding new and inventive ways to counter Enchantress.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Gyrocopter is already enough of a counter to Enchantress, right? If you're itemizing Gyrocopter to counter Enchantress, you're probably not playing Gyrocopter correctly in the first place, because you already do enough. Just worry about the rest of the team. Enchantress is dealt with.
They're going on the Terrorblade, but they're not committing too hard.
Oh, the Tiny comes in with the toss. That's
Arcane Rune on the Void.
Good amount of damage done to the Terrorblade. He uses his
There's a big chrono.
Oh, wow. So they're going to be able to take out the Gyrocopter before the fight even starts. Are they going to be able to suppress the Terrorblade, or is he going to be able to get the ultimate off? They are going to be able to kill him all the way from full health. Well, about 2/3 health after the initial little engage. But the Shaker Slam is used to ensure that Terrorblade does not have a moment where he is not stunned. He does not manage to get the Sunder off, and he goes down entirely.
Wasting Metamorphosis, no less.
Yeah, he used Metamorphosis when he was initially jumped. He used BKB meta. Didn't get many attacks off, immediately started running away. So that was a very hasty use of Metamorphosis at the beginning of the fight. Just the BKB and running away would have been fine, but it kind of feels bad to use BKB without using Metamorphosis. So I think that's why the potential to turn the fight was there, but the pursuit from OG was relentless.
I mentioned about Enchantress just being able to wail on heroes that are in the chrono. That pretty much happened, and it was a huge team fight. They actually executed their spells well. I feel like this game should have been a lot shorter than it was, just they made a lot of mistakes.
It's not over yet. We've seen games though. Not necessarily from OG. OG are pretty good at being consistent. See, they get the melee racks and they back. We've seen so many teams commit too hard at this stage of the game. Yeah, Void doesn't have buyback. Like, there's been so many games this tournament where the team would have carried on going for the racks. Gone for the base even. Na'Vi went for the throne. And then they die, and then they don't have buyback, and then they lose. So...
I hope Terrorblade stops going for the butterfly now. No, don't. Oh, he just bought the Eagle Song. Void has a Monkey King bar.
Yeah, already completed. And the other attacks...
Changed tact for Scardia.
Aghanim Scepter can't miss, right? Yeah, Aghanim Scepter does the attack damage, but it does it in an AoE. It doesn't count for an attack for evasion. It can crit, but it's... Yeah, it's like almost a cleave. If you're the secondary target of a cleave, that's kind of how the tiny toss tree volley works. So... Yeah, Tiny has a way around it. Void already has a way around it. Enchantress is the only one that's really going to feel the effects of that. And 35% of Enchantress's attacks missing. You don't really care too much. The attacks that still hit are going to chunk them. Arrow coming through the tree line, but they do avoid it.
This is OG's game to lose now.
Absolutely.
Will they? Will they lose it? We've seen much bigger throws.
We want game 3. This is the important part.
I mean, I want a shower, so I'd be very happy with EG winning this game. There's nearly a solo crest up on Mirana. I find the thing with Koroga is you often don't feel their impact.
The Marana has landed a few arrows, and she is going for the Solar Crest, and she's got the Spirit Vessel already. She's definitely playing the more supporty side. Little smoke play coming through from OG. They're going to run into the Elder Titan, and the smoke breaks on the Elder Titan. He immediately starts backing off. Void still feels the need to pursue against him, but yep, it doesn't look like anything's happening. Marana ulti comes out, but he walks next to a sentry ward. They don't manage to lay out the Bash Lock to keep him next to the sentry ward, so he does manage to escape. Nothing really big committed from OG there, but the Marana ulti is a fairly long cooldown. So, yep, 100 seconds remaining on that cooldown. It's 2 minutes in total. That's the ultimate that makes everyone invisible for a short duration. If they attack, they're visible for like 3 seconds again, and then they fade away. It's like a fairly 2 seconds even, fairly long like fade delay if they attack, but otherwise everyone on the team gets an invisibility effect. If they attack will cost any ability. So if they like use a teleport scroll, it would also reveal them. So that's why you see the Elder Titan just run away. And with the minus armor from the medallion, right? They have one, don't they? No? Oh.
Sorry?
I thought there was a medallion effect on Roshan, but it doesn't look like there was. But yeah, the attack slow from Untouchable does mean that the Roshan... He tries to attack Enchantress, but Roshan is affected by Untouchable, so attacks super duper slowly. So Enchantress can easily tank Roshan while other heroes do the damage to kill it, which is what Void was doing. Highest net worth by 10, that was correct. Most Roshan kills, so far OG, so far correct. Tower destruction, I was correct. The only thing I got wrong was net worth by 25, which was, I don't think you can blame me for thinking that Terrorblade would farm. He's now caught up so high, and considering that he was 8th net worth at one point on the one roll, the fact that he's now caught up to 3rd and at one point was 2nd is
He would definitely be 1st if he didn't have such a bad start.
Yeah.
And that bad start was so bizarre.
It's like they just didn't care that he was having a bad start, and it's such a... So early farm is really important to kind of get momentum going. Like, it's kind of like a snowball effect. The more money you have in the first, like, 10 minutes, the more you'll farm in the next 10 minutes, the more you'll farm in the next 10 minutes. It reaches a peak, but, like, if your first 10 minutes is spent not farming whatsoever, almost, then the next 10 minutes is going to be, like, much slower. It's commendable that he did manage to catch up with the rest of the pack, but last game we saw him, like, 5,000 ahead, not... You know, what's that? 4,000 behind.
And that's where you really need to be. You can't be buying a butterfly after the enemy team gets the Monkey King bar.
Marana goes down? Caught out by Jerax. Well, Jerax and Oracle, so the supports of OG managed to find the Marana and bring her down.
It looks like an Echo Slam was used though.
She used all of her leap charges. Oh, yeah. Leap charges take a long time to come back. The charge restore time... Okay, so it is only 30 seconds at this level, but she's still going to only respawn with 2.
So about 10 minutes ago I said that I really like Gyrocopter for going for a Satanic. He hasn't been able to get one.
It. He has the money for it, but I think he understands the importance of buyback, which, yeah, it is absolutely correct, but... Being this close to a Satanic without it does feel kinda bad.
Well, you're playing against a Chrono. I feel like you have to just admit, I'm gonna need buyback.
You know, it would be a really funny buyback cost. If you had the choice of doing a buyback with money or doing a buyback with your level.
Thompson got the cheekiest kill.
Max range Fisher as well from the Jerax to help out. That was a cute little play from the Faceless Void. That's something that he can do as a counter to the Gyrocopter. So if he uses Time Walk and the rocket hits him while he is in Time Walk, so while he is doing that dash, he doesn't get stunned. And the Terrorblade goes down to the Void Chrono. We said it was a good
Hero
counter to
buyback.
that hero. The buyback came out from the Terrorblade though, so that's what they were planning to do. They were planning to lose the fight to the spells, then buy back and hopefully win a fight when the spells are down.
Tiny out.
They're going to get
Tiny's
one hero
actually out.
though. Only
Man.
killing the support. The support has buyback of it, has buyback available. So that was 3 deaths, 3 immediate buybacks, and they managed to kill a support. They used the BKB, they used the Metamorphosis. As soon as the Oracle is back alive, if they decide to push there and then, they'll have 70 seconds without Metamorphosis on Terrorblade. He will have the BKB back up, but 70 seconds without Metamorphosis is, feels bad, man.
Yeah, and Chrono will be up before then. And there's a Lincoln Sphere for when you eventually break that Aegis.
Gyrocopter used his
Or he just
buyback now, so at the very least he can spend his money. He bought the Satanic. It would not have helped him in the previous fight, I don't think. Not enough. So definitely the buyback was worth more than the Satanic there. I still wish buyback was more of a... There was more of an opportunity cost to buyback, because it feels like too many teams can just hold their buybacks, and these games come down to who has buyback, who doesn't. On that note of who has buyback, who doesn't, nobody on the side of OG have buyback. Oh no. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on, alternating for some reason. Hang on, let's swap it over.
It's only Ogre and Mirana of EG that do.
Ogre and Mirana of EG.
Tiny and Enchantress don't. That
So-
being said, Tiny and Enchantress will in a minute. Can you stop this Void right now? He's lost his Aegis. I feel like if they get enough stuns in, they can force Oracle to...
Oh, the trees. It just zones them back while they take... Oh, the Ogre Magi with BKB jumping on the back lines, but... For what?
Getting nothing.
Jerax,
BKB.
the one that Ogre Magi just committed to spamming the next level play in the voice lines. I love these voice lines. They add so much to it. The tree volley basically solo kills the Ogre solo kills the Elder Titan. He doesn't have buyback to get into the game. The Void Chrono comes out in order to kill the Mirana and the Ogre Magi. Mirana has buyback, so returns to the game, but now has died again. Terrorblade has no way back into the game because he used the buyback in the previous fight. And he's now lost.
That was...
Tree volley into
Prison
base.
multicast.
Oh, it does a lot of damage. He got the crit on the first hit and it was 988 damage done to the gyro on that first attack from the tree volley.
Like I said, if they get enough stuns, they'll force out the false promise onto the Void, which is not enough.
Just forcing false promise, like they can keep him alive through false promise.
Yeah.
Oh, that felt... Game felt like such... Literally from the Terrorblade pick. Everything from the Terrorblade pick was, questionable.
Yeah. They did surprisingly well considering that was mostly because of OG's mistakes.
So, I'm not sure if anyone knows the context behind this picture, but this is the picture of Notel shaking hands with Fly in the game that they met at the International last year. They put it on their flags, and they've been spamming it throughout the game. They spammed it throughout the game, while they were losing, too.
That's a Thompson MVP for me. The guy just got kills all the time. He made a lot of mistakes, but...
Yeah, Jerax was doing great, too. Just like the early game situation where, the tier 1 was actually still standing for evil geniuses, but, all the time you just saw Thompson and Jerax behind the tier 2 tower getting kills. They found Arteezy in the jungle, and then they just teleport away. Oh, amazing.
That was a really rough game to watch as a Terrorblade picker. I don't know why they picked it. I really don't.
I want to see his graph. I want to see that player's graph. Oh no, look at that. Oh, look at that, 10 minutes in. There he is, third from the bottom. The gap isn't actually that big. It's 2,300 on the Terrorblade, it's 3,900 on the Tiny, but like... Wow. To see a one roll, like the farm on him at 5 minutes in, 1,800. Farm on him at 10 minutes in, 2,200. You get 100 gold per minute passive. So in 4 minutes between 5 minutes in and 10 minutes in, in 5 minutes between 4 minutes in and 5 minutes in and 10 minutes in, he went up 400 net worth. So
right, I'm gonna leave the final game to you. I need to shower.
Oh, cool. He actually went down in net worth effectively. He lost gold compared to what he would earn passively. He could have sat in Fountain for 5 minutes and ended on higher net worth at 10 minutes.
That was just a lot of feeding. And I don't think he died in the last game, did he? No, he had 0 deaths in the game before. And then in the next game, lots and lots.
Feels bad, man.
Yeah, that was difficult. How many did he have exactly? 8. Right, I'm out.
Take care.
My bold prediction is EG are gonna not draft like shit, and they're gonna win. Excuse my language.
Bands being identical.
Oh dear, of course they are.
Is it going to be the IO Magnus Alchemist again from EG? Isn't it wonderful?
Oh well, I think if
Game 3 goes to the coin flip, right? For first pick. Because first pick was huge here. Both times. I feel like OG, if EG get first pick, they're going to ban the Enchantress instead of the Elder Titan. But, yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see it. Or if they spend a different one of their 3 bans to get rid of the Enchantress or the Elder Titan earlier.
The team that gets Enchantress wins.
That's what we've ended up with so far, yeah. And EG had counters to it. They just didn't lane the counters against the Enchantress.
Bonkers. The Enchantress didn't have much of an impact. I feel like the real impact was just coming from the Void being unkillable, the lanes going really well, Terrorblade having a minuscule impact.
You'll know what they should have done. This is my bold strategy change after those picks.
Put Terrorblade mid.
Yeah.
No, oh god, that sounds awful actually. Don't put a Terrorblade against Tiny.
Nah, it would actually be fine. Tiny has really low armor early levels, and you can go for the high levels in Reflection early. If the Tiny comes after you, end up with the Tiny Illusion hitting Tiny. Tiny hits hard, Tiny doesn't have armor, so Tiny hits himself for a ton. The burst potential is weak on the Terrorblade, but you may as well just get a couple of braces, because what the hell were they farming at top? You may as well get braces. Braces, drums, power treads, tank yourself up early, go max reflection, and use the Tiny strength against himself.
That sounds kind of terrible, to be honest.
Would it have done better? That's the question. Because then they have the gyrocopter into Seb. I feel like using the ultimate from the Terrorblade, he would get at least something out of the lane, whereas top he got, like, nothing out of the lane, and gyrocopter would demolish the Enchantress, which is what we were expecting to happen. We were expecting them to pick a mid so that they could put the gyro up against the Enchantress. Or you go Ogre mid. Who would that leave? The Terrorblade in the defensive tri-lane? If Terrorblade is in a defensive tri-lane against the Void, he'd probably do okay. They don't have a huge amount of burst magic damage. The Oracle doesn't get summoned to, like, a lot of burst magic damage until, like, level 3, and not really until level 5. Earthshaker has burst physical damage early, not burst magical damage, so it wouldn't do much against the Terrorblade. I think it would have gone fine. Their offensive potential would have been lower compared to having the gyrocopter at bottom, but their farming potential would have been pretty high. Ogre would have traded farm pretty well against the Tiny in mid, because he can just beat down on the Tiny. And top lane, if they end up with the solo Enchantress versus the solo Gyro, the Gyro wins.
I don't know about wins.
Yes. If the Enchantress ever doesn't have a wave, Gyro can chase after her and use Q. And use Q. And use Q. And wins. I don't understand how you could play that matchup and lose on the Gyrocopter, if I'm honest. Unless the supports come over. And if the supports come over, that's even less pressure on the Terrorblade. Hooray.
I think they should have just played musical lanes to make sure they had the Ogre versus Enchantress lane.
That would have helped out. But as I said, that's basically, yeah. I feel like with the Gyrocopter in the draft, you want the Gyrocopter Enchantress, and you want the Terrorblade. Terrorblade into the Void would have been fine. So the only kind of lane left is mid for the Ogre, and I don't think Ogre minds mid. He could tank it up. He could do fine. The problem is the lane configuration that they went for went nothing, literally 0, bad, and okay. And Gyrocopter only ended up getting loads of farm when he went to jungle and took all of the jungle farm, and that left RTZ with even less space to catch up after getting nothing from lane. If you did it this way, you'd end up with really good on the Gyro, you'd end up with okay in mid, and you'd end up with okay at bot. I feel like 2 lanes breaking even and 1 lane winning is better than 1 lane losing by a country mile, 1 lane losing, and then the other lane breaking even. This is my prediction of how it would go. That's not necessarily exactly how it would go, but honestly, I think that's how it would end up being. The rotations would come out from OG to try and avoid the lanes being like that, but then you just kind of counter-rotate and you end up with the, musical lanes happening.
And musical lanes would, on the whole, favour EG, because Terrorblade is so good at catching up.
Yeah. Though the support host from OG are also pretty strong. Musical lanes generally mean your cores move around more than your supports. So your supports stay in lane and get the XP and the farm while the cores are moving. Jerax on the Earthshaker and Notel on the Oracle, getting the farm and the XP while the cores are moving around would actually be pretty scary on those two compared to Elder Titan and Mirana. So in that way, OG would pull ahead for musical lanes. But once again, they just ended up with nothing on the Terrorblade early. And the Terrorblade with a bad start just ended up never being able to really get off his thunder in fights. It happened like, what, twice? The tiny solo kill attempt, and then one other attempt in the middle of the jungle. Which was the BKB reveal from the Terrorblade. Oof. Well, game 3 should be exciting. You're horrible for leaving me. Don't leave me.
No, I need a shower. I feel bad.
You can have it later.
Oh, I can't.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, right, I'm out. Sayonara.
Oh. What a nerd. Trying to be clean. Oh. It's going to be a really interesting game coming up, though. Sykes is having a horrible time in China. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's really sad. I've been seeing it too. Did you see like Chinese nightmares after the TI after attending TI? And it's just like the face of Slacks with his awkward smile and like red eyes and the like vibration effect. It's beautiful. Oh, let's see how the main stream is going. They're back on the panel. So, we've passed the first kind of intermission bit. So the next draft should start up soonish, right? Yeah, it's pretty funny. It was on the Reddit the other day. There's some great memes about the international so far. Oh, the puppy memes too. So, there's a lot of memes about Puppy's performance. So mid one's performance. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. I'm loving the love for Hector in the subreddit. Everyone is realizing quite how good Infamous are, and the Infamous for TI Champions hype is all there. I'm loving that. Infamous just seem to know how to make and use space perfectly. Like, most people would feel like losing a carry is a bad thing, but it just depends on how much happens on the map in the meantime. And OG are really good at that too, most of their games. It ended up being a bit awkward in the mid-game of this game, where you end up with a really nice balance between fighting and farming and gaining advantages and stuff like that. OG are also really great about playing around these buybacks. You saw the buybacks come out on the side of EG with Terrorblade bought back, Gyro bought back, all of them bought back at once. They probably didn't need to spend this many buybacks, but everybody bought back. And then OG just leave. 3 buybacks, 3 immediate buybacks, simultaneous. And OG run away. And it's wasted. And like, maybe they only need 1 of them to defend. Maybe 2 of them. Add a push. Maybe 1 of your cores on the support, because it was like the 2 biggest cores on EG, Terrorblade and Gyro both bought back. And then the support, I think it was support Mirana bought back as well. It just felt like, yeah, kind of weak. After they spent those 3 buybacks, everyone ran away. And it was wasted. And Terrorblade was so far behind. If it was like the Gyrocopter buyback and the Mirana buyback, I'm sure that OG would have still done the play to just disengage and run away. And then Terrorblade would still have his buyback for the next fight, which crucially he didn't have and he went and died for like 120 seconds while OG were pushing base. Gyrocopter was alive for longer than the Terrorblade, so Gyrocopter could have stayed alive long enough to fight alongside the Terrorblade when he bought back and came back into the fight. Like, the Void Chrono went down on the Terrorblade got taken out, and there was no buyback available, so that's why they were happy to commit the Void Chrono to take him down. And it's like, what did those buybacks earn them? They kept their base alive, cool, but did they need 3 buybacks to keep their base alive? Probably not. What else did it earn them? A single kill on Oracle. The only casualty for OG that game was Oracle. These are the wrong way around, by the way. This happens all the time, and it really frustrates me. You can close it and reopen it, and sometimes it corrects it, but like, yeah. That was not OG's draft. It's Radiant versus Dire. No, it's not even Radiant versus Dire. It's just wrong. We're still in beta, boys. We're still in beta. How long until the next one? Let's have a look at the mainstream. Still on the analyst panel. So, nothing yet. Oh, here it is. You probably had a couple of bans already, but the bans are really predictable this game, so I don't think there's going to be anything too exciting. Magnus, let's track. Identical bans so far. We're probably going to see the IO next from the EG side. Also, really, really predictable. There's the IO ban. Who could have seen that coming? The Elder Titan ban is their choice. But now it is still first pick for OG. So will the last time it was Alchemist that EG decided to ban instead of the Enchantress that OG picked. Now they may end up banning the Enchantress if they feel like the Enchantress is a weaker hero compared to the Alchemist, the stronger hero compared to the Alchemist, or if they can counter the Alchemist better. The ban from OG, last game it was actually on the AA, this ban here. And this time it's on the Elder Titan. So that ban has changed, and that's actually caused evil geniuses to spend a lot of time thinking. They still ban the Alchemist, so Enchantress. There it is. What's evil geniuses plan to deal with this time? They don't have the Elder Titan this time. Are they still going to go for the Gyrocopter?
Absolutely perfect.
You can't do exactly the same thing again. I mean, they did fuck up the last pick with the Terrorblade. The Terrorblade was really weak because he just didn't have anywhere he could go where he worked. They immediately pick up the Tiny, so the Tiny is really good against the Enchantress. I like that as a first pick. I think it is first pick material. We usually see it picked second phase, but I think it is absolutely strong enough to come out in the first phase. Mirana is the other pick. We've seen odd plays with Mirana. Like, Mirana usually finishes with a really bad score, but at the same time her ultimate leads to a lot of possibilities. Like, smoking and using Mirana ulti is really strong to try and get pickoffs. You can occasionally escape from engagements because you have the Mirana ulti. It forces a lot more sentries to be bought out by the enemy team. So a lot of the impacts of Mirana are not visible on Mirana, and the stats that Mirana has. Invoker picked up by the OG side. This could be the Jerax Invoker, this could be the Topsin Invoker. Either of them can play it, so they pick it nice and early and it becomes a little bit of a flexy pick. So that's difficult for the EG side to deal with, because are they going to ban out mid-heroes next, or are they going to ban out some supports? The Enchantress is probably an off-laner. They could just ban out... I mean, there has to be another support, right? So they could ban out supports and just do it that way, but... yeah, OG have a lot of options with that Invoker, because they did play it on Jerax in the group stages, did well with it as a support. Shadow Demon ban from OG. Now we do have a couple of carry heroes in the pool, like Lifestealer, that do poorly against Shadow Demon. And they're just banning carries. regardless of the role that Invoker is playing, whether he's a mid hero, whether he's a support hero, at the very least they know that OG need a carry, so let's ban carries, I think is the EG response. So this is more like role-based drafting. So awkward though. We have a little delay before the next pick. Ooh, reserve time being used on this ban. So OG are thinking about it. Most of the picks have been really fast, so it seemed like they had a plan up to this point, but the pick of Mirana seems to have, Tiny into Mirana seems to have stumped them a little. But they seem dead set on the Enchantress. And then the Invoker is just a great all-round pick to put a lot of pressure on EG during the drafting phase, to kind of play around the flexi. Is this a mid? Is this a support? The same is true from Tiny. So Tiny can be played as a mid hero, which we saw Thompson on last game. He can also be played as a 4 position, which we've also seen EG do, and we've seen OG do. So both teams now with a hero that can be played as a support or a mid hero. Really interesting that both teams have the same dynamic. Earthshaker ban from Evil Geniuses and Centaur ban from OG. They picked the Crystal Maiden. Crystal Maiden, we talked about her. She's like a pretty solid and stable support pick. She's got a couple of decent disables. Her ulti is a air of effect channel. It does quite a lot of damage, but you can interrupt it. Invoker, whether he's support or whether he's core, has a lot of options to interrupt the Crystal Maiden ultimate, so we may not end up seeing a lot of that happening in these team fights, as again there's a lot of options to cancel it already on the side of OG from this Invoker. The other thing that Crystal Maiden grants is a mana regeneration aura to all allies on her team. This is really nice for the Tiny and really nice for the Mirana. So both of them make great use of the additional mana. It kind of allows them to kind of skip a mana item. Mirana will probably still see start with the Ring of Basilius. But yeah, the mana is really nice on Tiny, so he's going to buy Bottle anyway, if he's a mid-hero, which he will be now. Yeah, he will be a mid-hero now. So that's Sumail's Tiny. So there's an offlaner left to pick and a carry left to pick on the side of Evil Geniuses. OG, they pick up the Rubik. Again, this could be another support alongside the Invoker, or this could be a support with a core Invoker. So Rubik is really nice and doesn't give anything away. This is their 4 position, whereas Invoker is actually generally picked up in a 5 position because he just doesn't need much. You get the Urn of Shadows and a few levels, and he feels really good in the support role. That's something I really like about this patch. We've got so many heroes that are flexi picks between different roles. It makes drafting a lot harder for a lot of teams. But at the same time, it leads to really interesting Dota. So there's not much mystery about Ogre anymore. Most people are playing Ogre as a off lane, but you can still play Ogre as a support. That's probably the most common occurrence that we've seen so far in the tournament. Yeah, OG have so many heroes they look strong on. Magnus, Io, Alchemist, Enchantress, Tiny, all of these heroes they have an amazing showing on. And it feels like you have to give them one of them. I mean, you do. If there's 5 heroes that they're good at, there's not enough possibilities to stop it. Ooh, Evil Geniuses really like the Dark Willow. It's usually played as a support role, which means that one of these is gonna be a core. Core Mirana in the off lane? Yeah. So Mirana, Crystal Maiden, and Dark Willow are usually played as support heroes. And Mirana can be played as an offlane hero instead, but I don't feel like it's that strong. Can also be played as a mid hero, but that would put Tiny on the off... yeah. I'm not sure where EG are going with this draft. OG using their reserve time too. They're not sure where EG are going with this draft. They've got a lot of really squishy heroes there, and Spectre hasn't been banned out. They could honestly just go Spectre for Anna, and I don't think there would be enough of a response to deal with it. OG really like the Spectre. And then they still leave the question of Juggernaut. Juggernaut's another great hero that does the same thing. You cast the ultimate in fights, and what are these guys going to do? They're just going to melt. Mid-core Crystal Maiden. Oh, wouldn't that be beautiful? Or the core Dark Willow going first item Aghanim Scepter to synergize with the Shadow Realm. Both of those would be amazing to see. I would love it. So the biggest weakness I find for Evil Geniuses at the moment is the Mirana, the Crystal Maiden, and the Dark Willow are all heroes that don't end up with a lot of health pool, which means that they're easy targets for the Enchantress, they're easy targets for the Invoker spells, they're easy targets even for the Rubik. Oh, it's going to be really sad. The Juggernaut ulti, if the Evil Geniuses team are grouped up, could easily cleave down like 3 heroes at the moment. Tiny is tanky enough to stand up to some of these attacks, but if Tiny is the only one alive, it won't matter. Oracle ban from Evil Geniuses, so they expect OG to be picking another support and sending this Invoker mid. And Broodmother ban from OG. The Broodmother ban that we see in, like, before last pick is just like, oh, I don't think we have anything that counters it yet. The Sand King. So is this a support Enchantress? Or is this a support Sand King? The Rubik will be mid, I guess, now. Not Rubik. Invoker will be mid, I guess, now. So they were correct on that. We will have to pay close attention to the picks and see which one Seb grabs. No, Seb will grab the Sand King. Of course it will. So it'll be an off-lane Sand King. It'll be carry Juggernaut. It'll be Invoker in mid. So we've ended up with the Enchantress support. Instead of being in an off-lane role, she's now a support role, which is generally considered a little bit weaker. Then again, Evil Geniuses with Mirana, Tiny, Crystal Maiden, and Dark Willow, all of which are pretty good against Enchantress. Anti-Mage, he's a late-game farming hero. Oh, it's mid-Mirana. So they did go mid-Mirana. And core Arteezy. Off lane on the Tiny. And then the 2 supports of the Crystal Maiden and the Dark Willow. So it's going to be an off lane Tiny into Anna. This leads to a similar situation as last time. They end up with really weak lanes in comparison to the enemy's draft. And I don't think there's even some, like, nice ways that they can swap around the lanes in order to make it any better. Anti-Mage isn't all that good against Juggernaut. Nor is he that good against Sand King. At the very least, they do have strong support. So the Dark Willow and the Crystal Maiden should be able to help them out a little bit. But at the same time, Enchantress and Rubik aren't bad supports. He can, yeah, but it's not the spin that's the problem, it's the right clicks. Tiny has a huge amount of health, so you don't really want to be spinning on him, but you can just walk up to him and just slap, 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 slap. And Tiny is just kind of useless against it. If Enchantress is in the same lane as the Juggernaut, with the disables that they've got available, they're just going to be able to, like, harass him down. And Enchantress, with her harassment and her slow, she's just going to be able to throw auto attack after him. Ooh, I do not like this. Yeah, you can. Oh, absolutely, but... is that enough to win a lane? No. That's enough to stop a single engagement, but you're still going to lose, like, half your health to it. It's RTZ mid. Oh boy, is it RTZ mid? That can't be right. No, the tango's shared onto the Mirana. The Mirana is still mid. I'm not sure what RTZ is doing standing around here. That's a hard one. Oh, God.
I estimate the probability of winning to be above.
This is...
I estimate the probability of winning to be above 99%.
Three runes for the side of EG. So the Crystal Maiden over here managed to kind of win the right-click battle for the rune. When there's two people standing on top of the rune, they just kind of spam right-click as much as possible, and whichever one clicks closest to the rune spawn time with ping involved gets it. But this is a LAN tournament, so we don't have to worry about that. Oh goodness, the bottom of the screen. Yeah, I see what you mean. Oof, random distortion. I'm not sure what's causing that. Do I still have the mainstream playing? Ah, I do. I still have the mainstream playing. It's probably just my broadband not keeping up. Invoker taking a little bit of a harassment mid, but this Invoker versus Mirana lane is going to be... oh, we should bring up that. I think fairly even in the early levels. Mirana will pull ahead because of her early damage, but at the same time, like, Invoker should have a bit of potential. Ooh, Mirana actually dives with the creep wave. First Blood comes out onto the Juggernaut. He has nothing leveled. Yeah, I think that voice line from the Dark Willow sums it up. So if the Juggernaut had this leveled, he'd be able to cast it and stay alive there. Or if he had this level, he'd be able to cast it and heal up a little bit there, and maybe survive. It's really strange that he doesn't have anything leveled yet. We're in a 2-on-2 now. Invoker and Mirana trade. Oh goodness, I should have ran over there when I saw the voice line. Through all of this though, Anti-Mage is farming up very well, but so is the Enchantress. Love Dark Willow's laugh. Amazing. I won't say the whole copy-paster, but if you look up Dark Willow copy-paster, you're going to have a great time. You're in for a treat. He's really low now. He keeps on taking a lot of this harass, but he also dealt a lot of harass to the Anti-Mage. However, Anti-Mage has a potion to use. And he uses it. He gets a lot of health back. A little bit was cancelled, but yeah, he's fine. Yeah, this is not the best matchup for Tiny. We see Tiny, despite his really high base attack damage, he's falling behind the Enchantress. He can't get the high attack damage on the Enchantress directly, and the Enchantress can keep on throwing attacks at him. Eventually, though, his combo is going to come online, and it's going to do a ton of damage. And that damage will be hopefully enough to take out the Enchantress in one goes. What the EG draft is kind of built around is having plenty of people that can deal with this Enchantress. It's to support Sand King. And Seb on the Enchantress, actually. That's strange. Sand King support is something we don't see very often in this tournament. It's almost always been a core. Trading hits with the anti-mage there. Ooh, the root lands on the Rubik. He might go down here. Yeah, the Shadow Realm is up from the Dark Willow. He's going to be attacked and he's going to go down. I think they could have done better with these lanes. We did say that the supporting heroes from EG are a little stronger in the laning phase. That's definitely true for Dark Willow versus Rubik. The harass that comes out of Dark Willow is just stronger than Rubik's. The disable that comes out of Dark Willow is longer range than the Rubik's. Rubik will catch up eventually, but at the moment, yeah, 80 damage. Whereas Dark Willow, she's got the bonus 180 damage already. Juggernaut is doing a lot of damage. He's got a level in Blade Dance, a 20% chance to get 180% crit. He did manage to get that a couple of times on the anti-mage there. So the anti-mage is kind of struggling to stay in this lane, I think is their plan. There looks like there was a dive for the Tiny. Enchantress died right under the tower. She died right here. Now she's back alive. But yeah, it looks like they tried to make a play to kill the Tiny under tower and it didn't end up paying off. I've missed a lot of the kills this game. I apologize. Sand King is being closed in on. They're going to find him. They're going to cast all of the disables on him. He has the invis, but there's no sentry ward nearby. Is he going to just be able to walk out of this? Teleport out of this? Wow, that is an interesting outcome. You wouldn't expect them not to carry detection with them, so Sand King, when he's in his Sunstorm, is invisible. You need true sight and detection in order to see people while they're invisible like that, such as a sentry ward or a dust of appearance. Juggernaut taking quite a lot of damage, including these brambles. Shadow Realm is up, but if she tries to cast it, he'll just hide in the trees for a little bit. Or use the spin. Both of those are able. Oh, she uses it to get the additional attack range and take out the ward, the healing ward, just as it comes up. So this gives you a little bit of bonus attack range, 600 bonus attack range. I say a little bit, it more than doubles her attack range. It's normally 475. That makes it 600 longer. So what she does is she kind of taps Shadow Realm in order to throw the attack out and kill the healing ward. Healing ward is worth a fair amount of money, so she got a fair amount of money for that play, and she managed to stop the heal coming out from Juggernaut. With the rotation of Tiny, they managed to get the kill on Juggernaut. I feel like OG could have done a better job with their lanes in this game. Matching up the... Well, I mean, up against the anti-mage is somewhat difficult, but I'm not sure why they didn't attempt to tri-lane. Now the Sand King is over there, but so is the Tiny. And they're leaving the top lane for the Mirana. Oh, the Crystal Maiden, even. It's not like an anime profile picture. That is a Naruto profile picture. Wow. Really? Who has that? Fly. Huh. I mean, if you're gonna put an anime profile picture, at least make it a good anime. Like Spice and Wolf. Like me. Oh, lots of different disables coming down on the anti-mage. He should die before he gets the blink away, and that's exactly what happens. They do have to rotate everybody across in order to get that, so the offensive tri-lane from EG has Topson meet up with them in order to get that kill. The two supports of EG are now rotating around in order to try and kill the Enchantress. We talked about how much different magic damage options that they had in order to kill this Enchantress, and that's exactly what they're going to try and do. The attack from the Dark Willow is not going to be enough, though. So that is 3 different heroes trying to go on the Enchantress, but they can't do enough. She gets a heal off before they engage. 40 heal per second for 11 seconds. That's 440 health just from level 1 Nature's Attendance. Same as a potion, a healing potion, but yeah, you don't have to worry about it being cancelled by damage, so it's pretty strong. The Shadow Realm makes Dark Willow untargetable. Sand King manages to land the double stun, and now they're chasing after the Enchantress with the Cold Snap in order to get the kill. It's now a 4 versus 2 engagement, but it looks like EG is still moving in, so Tiny is going to go down. Yes, the Tornado is going to take him out. Now Mirana goes in to try and deal with the Invoker. Invoker dodges the arrow by turning around and walking back for a couple of seconds. The Nature's Attendants from the Enchantress also heal nearby allies, so that's what they're doing now to keep the Invoker alive. The Enchantress is providing a couple of quick little heals onto the Invoker. It looks like the Invoker is going to go down now. He does not have the ability to escape from the 3 heroes, despite the Enchantress coming in to try and aid him. The additional levels in Untouchable help out Enchantress's survivability, but additional levels in Nature's Attendants would have ended up healing like half as much again, slightly more than. So that one would end up being like another level in Nature's Attendants might have ended up being preferable there. She actually goes for another level of Enchant beforehand. That reduces the cooldown and the duration of her slow. Well, it reduces the cooldown and increases the duration of her slow. Oh, Rubik took a bit of damage there. It's important not to have bad ones, though. That's the biggest problem. That's the assassin, right? From... What's that from? Oh, I can't remember what that image is from. It's a game. Very relevant talk while a 3-man gank is happening in middle. This is now a 12-hour stream. I'm allowed to go off topic. Oof. Okay, the impetus has come out from the Enchantress, doing quite a lot of damage onto the anti-mage. That's a really good counter to the hero because it's pure damage. Mirana throws out the arrow, but everybody manages to dodge it. The Shadow Realm is already used by the Dark Willow, so she is not able to get out. The banner placed down. Honestly, our viewer numbers have dropped to like 3. I'm honestly tempted to turn this into like a meme stream for the remaining days. Damage being dealt by the Enchantress, though, is huge in these fights from the impetus. Tiny, it looks like he kind of... Nah, he just wants to take these creeps and try and attack the tower a little bit. He'll have another tree soon. 172. So that was 172 pure damage from that. Good ability. That's why we see the Enchantress picked up so much. Impetus mana cost has changed a lot over the last few patches. It went from 100 at every level, 100 per attack, to 70 per attack, to 40, 55, 70. Once again, the Dark Willow using Shadow Realm to get the additional attack range to take out the Juggernaut ward. Really cute little play to make sure that he doesn't get any heal off. Immediately take out the ward with that ability. The scrolling of the Logitech back. Oh, are you hearing me? Is that showing up? Wow, you managed to identify it so perfectly too. Yeah, Logitech G502. Or G503. I can't remember. Oh no, it's only the G502. So the G500, yeah, was the first version. There's 2 versions up from that.
Where are you going?
Wow, I'm impressed. Yeah, it's a good mouse. It's a really nice mouse.
Normally.
It's lasted me a while. Ooh, Enchantress gets dove upon. The magic damage is there, and the ultimate committed from Crystal Maiden, but I don't know. Why? Why did they spend 4 heroes from EG and wait in the trees for so long before going on the Enchantress there? That's what I'm questioning. It does lead to a little bit of a net worth lead, but like, oh, I don't know. Seems to be so much time committed to get 1 kill. Should really swap to net worth. Wow. Mirana being at the top has got to feel bad, man, when you've got an anti-mage on the team. He is so far away from that Battle Fury. We're at like 40 minutes into the game and he had an okay lane. I can't do it. Got all of these. These don't apply either. That would be cool. If you could like spray down on the team on the map. Fear comes down on the Enchantress, so she's running away from the fight, but the Juggernaut was in spin at the time, so he's still okay. He's probably going to try and get the ultimate off because he's taken a lot of damage, so he doesn't want to stay in the fight for too much longer. They managed to get the Dark Willow down. Again, using the Omni Slash, it does make you invulnerable for a little bit of time, so it does end up keeping him alive. And he heals up from the ward and he's fine. Mirana does end up landing the arrow on the Enchantress, and it looks like it might be a second... No, it won't. It might have been another kill on the Enchantress, but she manages to get her heal out. It is now at the higher level. So that is now 66 health per second for 11 seconds. The heal per second scales so much. So she gets at level 2 what Alchemist get, no, level 3. So, but 2 levels of Nature's Attendance is more health regen than Alchemist gets from his level 1 ultimate. Obviously, that's not the only benefit you get from the level 1 ultimate, but like that is a lot. It is a lot. The 3rd level, what's that? That's almost as much as the level 3 ultimate from Alchemist. So he gets 100 regen at level. It's 96 regen. Am I going crazy? No, not yeah, 96 regen. With the level 3 Nature's Attendance. And, what, 126? No, 130 health regen per second with the maximum one. On Artesia, on the anti-mage, yeah. Nah, he's going for the Battle Fury, and I agree going for the Battle Fury. The problem is that he's decided to go and fight. So you're saying, like, he's trying to fight, he needs to go something tanky. Nah, he doesn't need to fight. He needs to leave. He needs to farm. It's a really big problem. They're not playing this as a good 4 Protect 1 strat. They did 4 Protect 1 really well in the mid-game of Game 2, allowing room for the Terrorblade to catch up from his terrible start, but now in Game 3, the 1 keeps on messing up his role and joining in with these fights. The map control is really heavy for OG net right now, though. The arrow lands on Sand King, and it's a very easy kill because there are sentries down in order to grant vision. Tiny, however, takes out the... Yeah, Tiny takes out the Rubik as well, so that's 2 kills now. The Martyr lands on a lot of the dire heroes. Dark Willow, affected by the Urn and Cold Snap, is kind of completely suppressed and isn't able to do anything off the back of that. The fear on the Juggernaut is going to disable him for quite a while. He may not be able to get his ulti off before he dies. He got his ward off. He got his spin off. He's going to be able to get his ulti off. The Tiny is desperate to take down that ward, but ends up going down to the crit before he manages to get the attack on the ward. The ward is going to heal them back up to full, so all of the progress that they made on that team fight to deal damage to the Juggernaut isn't going to be wasted, and he didn't even spend his ultimate there. Another kill on the Crystal Maiden. Enchantress is a good hero. Like, what can EG do? Do EG let Alchemist through the draft? Would that be the better option? They decided to take away the Alchemist instead of the Enchantress, games 2 and games 3. Game 2 and game 3. But the Enchantress came out for OG. It was really strong when they did it against Liquid. It was really strong when they did it against Liquid. Not Liquid. Or did Liquid pick it? No way, I think it was. No, Secret. It was EG Secret, wasn't it? I can't remember. I got the bracket here. Yeah, EG Secret. It looked really good against them. They picked it in game 3, and they basically farmed up the Battle Fury and split the map up really well. But again, that's just not what Anti-Mage is doing right now. He's playing this completely differently. Buybacks don't matter at the moment. No one's bothering to save. The only people with buyback are the supports, and that just is because they're happening to go for items that cost more than their buyback. Couple of stacks being made by this Rubik. This is something that we could see being done on the other side in order to help out the anti-mage, but no, it just doesn't seem to be as much of a priority for them. With the map control of OG, if they were to make these stacks, it does game depends too much on him getting Battle Fury Manta. Mostly the Battle Fury. He's got it now, but it's just late. How far behind on the net worth he is compared to Juggernaut. And Juggernaut went for Battle Fury. Oh, that's got to feel bad. Love this. That build order from Juggernaut of Ultimate Orb, Ultimate Orb, Ultimate Orb, Ultimate Orb, Point Booster. He's going to be so tanky. So the Invoker, casting forward Alacrity onto the Juggernaut, buffs him up. He goes into Spin. The Spin prevents the majority of the damage coming his way, and he attacks the tower. He's healing up from the Enchantress because the Enchantress Nature's Attendance is a shorter cooldown than the Healing Ward, so he's keeping the Healing Ward. That's a really cute play too. Hey look, it's that same thing that we just saw. We couldn't deal with the first time, so let's use Fortify on it the second time. But what are you going to do the third time, EG? What are you going to do the third time? Are they backing off completely, or are they waiting for the next wave? It looks like they are backing off. I feel like they could carry on doing that. They'd eventually break the tower, and then they could take away shrines. I've got nothing that deals damage to him, really. Not a significant amount of damage through that combo. So much farm on the Juggernaut though. Oof. So the reason why we were talking about the anti-mage so much and why this game is kind of resting on his shoulders is because with the Battle Fury he can farm really fast. Oh my goodness, what's he doing now? I don't get it. He gets invisible because of the Mirana ulti, and then he looks to try and make an aggressive play off the back of it, but it's like... You're an anti-mage, you finished your Battle Fury, go farm. Go farm and keep farming. And don't stop farming. Why would he look for an aggressive play for like 30 seconds while affected by the Mirana ulti when he could be farming? This is sloppy. Oh my goodness. The cold snap gets cast out but leaves her on. Oh, the Rubik. The Rubik has stolen the blink from the anti-mage, blinks across and takes out the Crystal Maiden. She has to buy back. They killed the melee Rex in mid lane and then they're heading towards the buildings at bot lane. Sand King unfortunately wastes his ultimate, but you could argue that it zoned away EG for a little while longer. And therefore wasn't as much of a waste. Tiny comes in but gets stunned up immediately by the Sand King before he can properly do much damage. And a lot of damage coming out onto these buildings. They're going to bring them down. Oh, this is... It felt like this was drafting issues. Game 2 and Game 3, it was all the draft that lost EG the game. And now OG going further on into the, like, different stages of the of the international. You've just got so many targets to ban, right? And this is EG proving that they're not 3-trick ponies. EG, game 1, they ban Magnus, they ban Io, they ban Alchemist. Game 2, they ban Io, they ban Magnus, they ban Alchemist. Game 3, they ban Io, they ban Magnus, they ban Alchemist. But like, if we take away these things, OG can't win, right? He did. That is questionable against all of the physical damage that they've got available. And the pure damage available on Enchantress too. I can't wait for the post-TI patch. I've said that before, but I can't wait for the post-TI patch. It's going to be, like, not because I feel like this one is super imbalanced, but because it's going to be so fun. Deaths are going to matter again. I think that's going to be the biggest impact. There's got to be enough to buyback coming. That's game. So EG are going drop down into the lower bracket. This is definitely not the end of their tournament life. 0 to 6. How is there so few tiny avalanche toss combos? That's really surprising. We're 27 minutes into the game and there were 6 avalanche toss combos. So the anti-mage is fighting, and apparently the tiny isn't. Wow. Wow. It always goes to the carries, and it really annoys me. Sometimes the mid. Mostly it's literally whoever is the most farmed at the end of the game gets MVP. Don't like that. Don't like that. That's not a good way of deciding MVP. Why are they the most fat? Is it someone else's, like, it's the 6-2-12 Enchantress. Of course it is. And did you see her schooling on 4 members of EG, getting her heal off before she died and just running away? It's literally a mirror of what happened in game 1. This hero is too good unless you pick counters. Game 2, they picked the counters and they didn't lane the counters against the Enchantress, and Enchantress did the same thing. Really weird play from EG. Really weird play from EG. We've seen Greed win at this tournament, but that anti-mage was just, he didn't come online nearly fast enough. And in the last game of EG versus Secret, was it? Yeah, EG versus Secret. Didn't like it. Yeah, the last game of EG versus Secret, the anti-mage got Battle Fury really late, but then managed to kind of pull the game back by splitting the map up, taking farm from all over the place. Did really great, cutting waves especially. But this game, he made it to Battle Fury so late. And then I kind of pointed out that play where the Mirana and Invis came down. And everybody on the side of Evil Geniuses was invisible because of that. And Anti-Mage used that to try and look for an aggressive play. He tried to look for a support to kill. And it's like, you've got a Battle Fury. You need to farm. Why are you not farming? Oh. That's a pub game mistake from Evil Geniuses at the main stage. You buy the big farming item on the Anti-Mage and then you don't use it to farm. Oh. So many weird mistakes happening at this TI. We've got some of the best Dota in the world being played by some of the underdog teams. Honestly, like after the group stages, the performances from Royal Never Give Up, knocking out Virtus.pro 2-0. Infamous. We cannot sing their praises more. We shall sing their praises more. Infamous for TI9. They're all just playing super solid and super great Dota. And then you look at some of the larger powerhouses. Team Secret with the super strange drafts against EG. EG end up pulling ahead. EG tried to beat OG, and like just the picks at the end of their drafting. They thought out the beginning of their draft. They're like, we're going to ban all of this stuff and we're going to go from there. But the latter half of their draft just kind of flopped. The Terrorblade was useless. The Anti-Mage was useless. They ended up with RTZ twice in a row. Not to his fault, though he did make a couple of strange plays. But in general, he just ended up really, really weak. Yeah. Very peculiar. Alright, well, I think I'm going to finish the game there. That was a... Yeah, look at this. It's all over the place. I thought VP would do okay. They were doing great after the end of the group stages. Nope, they fail. I thought Secret were performing better than EG. Nope, they fail. Oh. I thought PSG LGD would end up getting dropped down into the lower bracket after the game with VP. And when they were dropped down into the lower bracket, like, I expected them to win. But they didn't, because instead of fighting... yeah, it was all over the place. So Alliance end up getting knocked out by Royal Never Give Up. PSG LGD get knocked out by Royal Never Give Up. And Royal Never Give Up make it all the way to here. I should have guessed that they'd win here, but how would I have guessed that they'd win at this point? I mean, that was against the VP, and the VP were really not on form. Because EG didn't drop down to here, that prediction was wrong as well. Infamous was right. Faith in Infamous. Go Infamous. Yeah. My predictions are quite wrong. We may still end up with the VG OG game at the end, though. VG still in the tournament. They'll just be like, yeah, I predicted OG to come through from the lower bracket and make it to the end. Looks like OG might make it in from the upper bracket and get to the end. Vici, if they want to do it, they're going to have to play the winner of Infamous and Secret. Whoever wins out of Infamous and Secret are going to deserve it. I think that's what I've got to say there. Infamous have made so few mistakes, they're not going to throw a match. Because of their mistakes. Secret outplay them and dismantle their style, or Infamous manage to get their pacing of the game. Well, that was a really interesting stream, and I really enjoyed casting some of those games. We'll be back on tomorrow. I'm not sure if I will keep this up as a Newcomer stream. You can give me some feedback if what you think, but like, the number of viewers that I've got has ended up dropping so much, and I feel like the majority of the viewers I have right now are actually kind of fairly experienced. So I might do this more as like just a normalish stream so I get used to casting, because I am really tempted to do this more often. I was just hoping to do the Newcomer stream because there wasn't an official Newcomer stream. I could do that myself and hopefully drag in some viewers that were looking for a more kind of basic explanation of some of the plays. But yeah, it's been a fun time. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I can't really do a poll or anything, which is really frustrating. But yeah, a few great games today. Hopefully some great games tomorrow. What's the actual schedule for tomorrow? So we have on the 23rd, Royal Never Give Up versus Liquid. Hype. Infamous versus Secret. Hype. And then EG versus... who is that? That's going to be the winner of... Royal Never Give Up versus Team Liquid. Also, Hype. So Royal Never Give Up may end up playing twice tomorrow. We'll get to see Infamous once. I am rooting for Royal Never Give Up and Infamous and OG. Those three teams, I think, are all playing really great. They all came from Group B. So Invertus Pro in Group B, they made it to the upper bracket, then they fell straight out of the tournament. Infamous made it just into the lower... well, they were like just outside of the upper bracket, and they've been tearing it up since they got there. Royal Never Give Up right before elimination, so they were like... Ninjas in Pyjamas did do significantly worse than them, but at the same time, Royal Never Give Up were like pretty far down the table. Again, one spot away from being eliminated, and then they managed to chunk down two of these major teams in a row. It's amazing. Royal Never Give Up scrape it into the main event. Knockout Alliance, knockout Virtus Pro. How did Newbie do in the group stage? Newbie, third in the upper bracket. They get knocked down to Teensy Predator. And then they get knocked out by Infamous. It's really funny to see the upper bracket teams, when they're dropped down, or like originally upper bracket teams, when they're dropped down into the lower bracket and being brought down by the originally lower bracket teams. So yeah, Really strong showing from these teams that had a little bit of a weaker group stage, but they're coming through trumps in the main event. Right, well, I shall be off now. And take care, everyone.